I'm live. So we are literally just doing this is going to be very, very short. There's going to be those of you who are seeing this on recording as well. Okay. So just tuning in. It's 2 a.m., 2 a.m., June 2nd, Friday, here in Japan. It's the first time I've done a live on this channel. Let's see if people join, because literally talking in a fucking uh, vortex by myself right now. I just put out a clip for Anatomy MSK. There's two of you here. 5 of you liked it. That's cool. You can ask questions, right? This is just literally, it's time for your USMLE stuff. You literally got me in the fucking, you literally got me in the hot seat right now to answer your USMLE questions. So you better make use of this. Okay. Okay, that jumped up fast. That went from it said 2 people to 33 people. 8 of you liked it. That's cool. Ask USMLE questions in the chat. I can see the chat. So if you ask USMLE questions there, um, you got me right here. So I will be joining the new Telegram group probably tomorrow or in 2 days. I'm just, making sure everything's 100% squared away on my end. But if you guys have USMLE questions, just ask those here in the chat. Got me right here. I just finished my teaching. I just finished my teaching, and somehow without caffeine, I'm doing okay right now at 2 a.m. Okay. Literally none of you have questions, huh? Well, how's that for a first live session? No USMLE questions, you guys? No USMLE questions? You can write in the chat. Let me see. Maybe I'm just like being a crackhead. All messages. Live chat. Yeah, live chat. Wow, you guys are asking a shitload of questions. I'm just being a fucking douchebag and I didn't even see the questions. Literally, there's tons of comments here. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Let's see. A lot of you here. Hey. Okay, so what brought you to Japan? Well, I could give the politically correct answer, and I can give like answers that will rub people the wrong way very fucking fast. Right? I could get lynched on, right? Reddit, any number of platforms for answers I give to that. But I was studying Japanese in an immersion school for 15 months when I first got here. That was after med school. And then for 3 days while I was in fourth year med in Australia, I came here with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I was like, done, I'm moving here. And yeah, and I knew I was going to stay for a while, but then I was teaching USMLE and I could support myself, and then it just grew from there. It's a long discussion, right? I could talk for like an hour about me and why I came here. That's for sure. I said I was going to do USMLE questions here. How to get in the USMLE mindset. I mean, you either have the motivation to study for it or you don't. Interestingly, I think something that helps with getting you in this quote unquote USMLE mindset where you are really pumped to get a high score is if you actually have a chip on your shoulder, right? I'd say for me, back when step one was numerical, so I took the step one in 2012. Okay. And when it was numerical, the chip I had on my shoulder was I was trying to prove myself to my dad that I was good enough intellectually. He was very like, tough. And also, well, his dad was tough on him, but I didn't get approval in that department as far as like growing up, as far as like any like grades I got in high school or anything. Like he'd look at my report card and then just like not say anything. So I always felt like I had to perform. And then so I studied, and I did well in step one, which okay, 262 back in 2012 would be like a 272 today or something, but the inflation of the scores. But I'd say having a chip on your shoulder, where you have to like prove yourself, like that actually is that adversity. That insecurity is not a good word necessarily, but adversity, I'd say, can really pump you for doing well. But apart from that, I mean, to get motivated, I mean, you just got to do it. You just take some time off, go to the gym. When does your path PDF come out? Good Lord. How many times am I going to ask that question? I started working on a path PDF. It's my fault that I was working on a path PDF for like the first few months of this year. And I was pumping that in the Telegram group. I was saying like, I'm making this incredible, holy shit, this amazing path PDF, and then I ended up just splitting. It was like 180 pages, I don't know, and then I ended up just saying I'm going to split up the sections and put them in the current PDFs that I have, and that's what I did. So that's when I beefed up the cardio, pulm, renal, gastro that I've talked about. They're loaded with path, but now like forever I get asked about this path PDF, which I do have a file on my computer here. I literally do. I have a file with a path PDF on my computer with like all the genes that you guys have been asking about. Okay, I know many of you want those genes. Could easily just like throw those in the genetics PDF, for instance, but I haven't done that yet. So, but I will be putting out something this year. I will. Mike, I'm preparing for step one. I just lost that question. Let's see. Oh shit, there's a lot of questions here. When is your path PDF coming out? Mike, I'm preparing for step one. Any golden advice? 2 high yield arrows. Mike, how can I build stamina to read the question? You just got to self-pace and you got to not make excuses. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You got to have that internal clock if I'm spending too long on a question, and then you just got to move on if you don't know it. Flag it and move on. That's literally what it is. Okay. And then for very long questions, you can go backwards. I've made clips on that here on the YouTube. Okay. I mean, talking about get a big fucking paragraph on 2CK, loads of lab values, and glance the answer choices, glance at the labs. Is it a BU and a creatinine ratio question? Do you see a sodium potassium pH bicarb for aldosterone? Do you glance up in the paragraph and you see the patient's septic? Do you see any buzzwords like, teardrop shaped cells, dry tap, or myelofibrosis? So you got to go backwards for long questions. You'll be able to get through them easier. Getting 60% wrong, getting 60% wrong in a block in UWorld, NBME, I don't know what you're referring to. What NBMEs you advise me to do? For step one, you're going to do 20 through 31, including free 120. So for step one, you're going to do 20 through 24 offline. You're going to do free 120. Then you're going to do 25 through 31. And that's going to be about the final month of your prep. Leading up to that, you're going to be doing QBank. For step two, I've made videos on this. You're going to be on rotations. You're going to be post-grad. If you're post-grad, I want you generally doing all of AMBOSS or UWorld. It's going to be a month and a half, 2 months probably. And then you're going to do NBMEs, you're going to do the CMS forms full pass. You're going to do offline NBMEs 6 through 8. You're going to do second pass of all the CMS forms. You're going to do free 120, 9 through 13. It's a long discussion. People's schedules differ. Mike, I've stopped preparing for step one for 1 month to finish college exams. Would that affect my preparations? It would. You want to keep momentum. I don't like people taking time off. Same if you're on like rotations. Right? If people are on rotations, I don't like that. Anything or research or electives or like anything, I don't like distractions that way. How many subjects to study together in one day? I don't know what that's asking. Hey, Mike, how to balance life and preparing for 2CK as an IMG? How to balance life and preparing for 2CK? I'd say going to the gym daily is really good for you psychologically. If you're procrastinating, making sure you're 8 hours per day in a cafe, that can be very effective as well. Have earbuds. I didn't take days off when I studied. Some people take days off. I didn't. When I was preparing for step one in particular, I studied for an entire year. I had a research year that I studied during after my second year of med. And I studied the entire year, 8 to 12 hours a day. I think the entire year I had like a week off where I went on a road trip up from Brisbane, where I was living in Australia, up to Cairns. That's in northeastern Australia. So I went on a road trip, but the entire year I was studying. Mike, I just got my USMLE results yesterday. Is it possible I can attempt to take step 3 by August to strengthen my application as an IMG, or shall I wait? Yeah, you should take step 3 to strengthen your application if possible. And that I'd say it will definitely help as an IMG. It's an extra data point. I do not think that if it's a situation, for example, where you are preparing for 2CK and you're gonna just get that over with and just apply in time this year, and you're like, oh fuck, Mike is saying that if I have a step 3 that's going to be better. I don't think it's a crisis. I'm just saying, like, if you happen to get like take the 2CK now, not like in August or even September, if you can, like if you're literally taking 2CK, you just sat it and you're going to apply this year, I would get step 3 out of the way. Okay. So that is definitely, yes, something I would do. Like, how can I build stamina? Let's see. Can we ask questions about finances for USMLE? Why are so many people, Muhammad is saying, why do so many people saying the new question pool is harder? I think people just like over speculate, and it's a form of escapism. It's not harder. I could give you like blind questions from like old NBMEs, like NBME 1 for step 1 from like the 1990s or something. Like I could give you blind questions. You'd have no idea which forms they're from. Okay. There's questions that are, I mean, people, it's a form of escapism. Is people like to come up with these like transitory myths and yeah, these speculations. It's like it relieves stress for them or something. How to tell the difference between early HIV and infectious mononucleosis with actual like content questions here. Yeah, early HIV can be like multifarious in terms of how it produces, how it presents. You can even get like meningitis with it. Yes, diffuse like lymphadenopathy, etc. Infectious mononucleosis is really high yield for 2CK. It presents with all 4 center criteria. So fever over 38, then you're going to have no cough. Lymphadenopathy exudates, presents similar to viral infection. Okay. It's a long discussion. I really don't want to talk about like actual content right now that bored the fucking shit out of me. Okay. That's what I do like paid Skype sessions for. It's like I do like, if you want to discuss content, like actual medicine, and you want to bore the fuck out of me, you can like do paid sessions. What PDFs are you going to renew? Revise, like update? I mean, I update as we go, right? So it's sort of like hit or miss. I sort of just like randomly fall into pockets of time where I will work on a PDF. So like maybe right now, spring, summer, I said like I'm not going to be putting out like a new PDF for some time. I want to do stuff outside of medicine, but like it's very on a whim for me. Like I might just decide randomly one day I'm going to go to a cafe and then I start doing some PDF stuff. So that's how it is. I don't try to affix any time frame to it for the moment. How to make sure you prepare the best for step 1. I heard your must-do PDFs are neuroanatomy, immunobiochem. It's laughable. It's laughable because those are the favorite PDFs that are like perpetuated on like Reddit, for example, neuroanatomy, immunobiochem, because I knew that those subjects were lacking, and I made literally the best resources for them correct. But I say it's laughable because you can get all the neuroanatomy wrong on your step 1 and pass. You can get like weird biochemistry wrong and pass, right? But you're not going to pass if you're missing like basic cardio, pulm, renal, gastro. I mean, you've heard me say this. Like I go through periods of time where I start pushing certain content. Like last year, I was pushing arrows. Like, yeah, I want you to do high yield arrows, but I was pushing arrows, and then that kind of caught on a bit, and people were like, yeah, you got to do arrows. So now I've started pushing like, you got to do cardio, pulm, renal, gastro. Do those PDFs. They're updated with all the new path, as I said. And, you know, by all means, yes, go through neuroanatomy, immunobiochem, but don't have it be where like you're able to answer Weber syndrome on the NBME exam, which is a midbrain stroke. Okay. And you can't tell me the difference between SIADH and DI. Like, I hate that shit. Like, I hate when like students are like, you know, they DM about like, or like the Michaelis-Menten curve or like Lineweaver-Burke plot. Like, is that stuff? Do I need to know that? And like, I'm just like, do you know, like, is DK, like, what kind of acid base disorder do you have in DKA? Like, what's your serum potassium, total body potassium in DKA? And they like, don't know. Okay. So like, you got to focus on big picture concepts to pass. My question is, have you applied for residency in the USA? No, I have no interest in going to the USA. I don't like the guns there. Some people think that that's like an outrageous reason to not want to be in the US. I have no desire to be in a culture surrounded by guns like that. Musculoskeletal system and CK are different. The questions are vague to guess. Is your PDF enough for neurology? Well, I have like, it's weird, right? That I have like a regular neuro PDF and then I have like a neuroanatomy PDF. So if you're studying for step 1, go through both. If you're studying for 2CK, go through the neuroanatomy PDF, but just skip over all like you don't need to know the diagrams, but just like flick through it, and then you'll know like the high yield presentations, high yield vignettes. Like I do want you to do that stuff. Just what kind of 2CK score should IMG aim for to get in a residency program? Just pass. If you want internal medicine, family medicine, obs, gyn, peds, you just got to pass. That's all you need to do. And you can't be picky with you can't be entitled to location either. The biggest mistake people make in terms of when they don't match is they don't apply into transitional / prelim years. So for example, you want to do, I don't know, dermatology, very competitive, and your scores are like pretty good, but not like exceedingly high. And you apply into all these categorical, which means 4-year dermatology programs, and you don't get an interview, or you don't get in, you don't match. That's a mistake. What you want to do is you apply into all your categorical programs, but you also apply into preliminary years, which are 1-year programs. You apply into transitional years, 1-year programs. And then you can pivot from that 1-year program into PGY2, possibly at the same program, or you could apply as just a PGY1 in a categorical somewhere else. But at least you're working for a year, right? I mean, you're an intern, you're getting US experiences, your perspectives might change. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing a prelim year. People are in a rush to get to attending level so they can make a big income, but it's like, there's nothing wrong with doing an intern year in the US before going to a categorical program. Just want to say thank you for all the free PDFs, everything else. Shabab says, if I don't know biochem too well, will I pass? Yes, you will pass. Farhat says, what PDFs are you going to renew? Are you guys like asking the same questions? That's right. Let me see. Someone says neuroanatomy is the best. Vishal says neuroanatomy is the best. Vishal, however I say your name right. Mike, why are you not making? Okay. Not going to answer that question. Christopher says, for step 1 micro and farm, should I waste time on obscure drugs and bugs? I'm 30 days out. Yes, you should waste your time on obscure drugs and bugs. James Bond says, that's you individually for Lineweaver. Step 3 has only 1 NBME. Yes. Oh, that's actually, I know like literally the step 3 guys, you guys studying for step 3 is probably under 1%. So I could start talking about step 3 right now, and like literally of the 103 here, like there's maybe 1 of you, maybe 2 of you tops who's studying for step 3. So I don't want to waste your time on step 3, right? But I prep you guys for step 3, basically the same as 2CK. It's very similar. Okay. So I have students go through all like the CMS forms for 2CK, and I have them do all the NBMEs for 2CK. Okay. In addition to obviously UWorld or AMBOSS for step 3. And then there's the CCS cases, but maybe 2/3 of like step 3 prep is just like step 2 prep. It's like very much the same. It's a long discussion. You guys aren't prepping. Most of you aren't prepping for step 3, but if a student comes off step 2, I will tell them that if they have time to sit step 3, they should do it as soon as possible, because they've just done all the CMS forms prepping for 2CK. So if you say, no, I don't want to deal with step 3 right now, I'll do it like 18 months from now instead, I'll say, that's fine, but just know you're going to have to redo all those CMS forms that you just fucking did that you don't want to look at again. You're going to have to do all those again in the future. So you just did them. You got them out of the way. Might as well do step 3 now. But there is only 1 NBME. It's a bit weird. Let me see. Can you please break down RH negative versus RH positive in Kuden's test, please? I could very easily do that. It sounds terribly boring though. As I said, I mean, like if you want to do actual like content like that, just pick up a Skype session and then I'll talk about that. What's the best station in Tokyo? I can do Nampa. That's fine. It's not Napa, it's Nampa. And I don't live in Tokyo. I live in Osaka. You want to go to Shin-Okubo in Tokyo. Shin-Okubo is like the Korean town area. It's so fucking big, the Korean town and the Koreatown in Tokyo, that you literally think you're in Korea. Okay, like you if you go to like a Chinatown in some places, you're like, well, this is like, okay, there's some China type shops here, but you're still in like your city. But the Koreatown in Tokyo is so big, You literally think you're like in Busan or something. I've been to Korea 7 times. I had an ex-girlfriend who was Korean, so I've been there. It was before COVID though. That was the last time I was in Korea, but I want to go back to Korea. Let's see. Your thoughts on Anki for 2CK? I don't think Anki, you need to do Anki, period. I'm talking about making your own Anki for QBank. Don't do that. Only make Anki for the NBME exams. For step one, I've talked about that. Maybe that's what you're referring to is, yes, I will sometimes have students make Anki for the NBMEs for 2CK, sometimes, not mandatory. And then, of course, I've got my Farm Biochem Anki on my website that, that's of course additional supplemental. But when students ask about Anki, like I don't want you making your own Anki from QBank. I definitely don't want you doing that. Is there any benefit of passing steps if you don't want to match? Yeah, I mean for competency, right? I mean, like for example, I didn't go to the US, right? But I mean like I aced my steps. I mean, so it's like it's for competency. Like, if you know the NBME content, like you're up to date. Students, that's actually a question I can address right now. Is like some students will say, well, how do you know you're always like, continued education, stuff like that? Like, how do you know you're up to date since med school? Because I graduated ages ago, back in 2016. And so the way you know is if you can do well in the NBME questions, then you're up to date enough, right? Being up to date on medical education isn't about reading the New England Journal of Medicine. It's about knowing the board exam content, because the board exam content is what the US considers as acceptable or required for you to practice. So as long as you can ace the NBMEs, it doesn't matter that you haven't, if you forget how to insert a catheter or something, I mean, no one, okay, you're not giving fluids, you're not clinical that way, but knowledge wise, you can do the NBME exams. Like, that's good to know that information, even if you don't want to match. Is it worth doing the old NBMEs 20 to 25 for step one? Or you mean 20 to 24? That's a question. You haven't viewed my content before. A lot of you guys don't want me to answer that. Yes, do the offline NBMEs in addition to new ones. Shmuel says, I finished cardiology UO questions and review for USMLE step one before 2 months now studying gastro. I feel that I already forgot cardiology. Do you have advice for recall? No, just read. You have to remember that remembering, forgetting is the normal process. Okay. So, as I said, I don't want you making Anki cards. I don't think you need to do that. No matter how high you're scoring, you're going to go through my PDFs and you're not going to retain certain things. Similarly, like back in the FA era, when I read FA when I read it back in 2012 for my exam, I read FA 3 times, basically memorized it 3 times. And I was still missing information. So like, if you were to read my PDFs 3 times, you have a good memory, you're still not going to remember everything. Right. So I just want you to try your best to retain info, but you got to accept that you're not going to remember everything. You want to try to remember every detail. It's just going to hold you back. You got to just move forward. Mohammed Kuna says hello. Louis Arguello. Dr. Mike, I'm an IMG graduate in 2015. I'm considering you have like a long, fully loaded question here. On 2019, I started studying Kaplan. You mentioned a bunch of bullshit resources. Kaplan, DIT, Boards and Beyond. You're like this is the classic trolling question I get. Still not able to pass any NBME. Well, no shit, because you're not focused on I love that question. I love that because it's like, well, of course you're not passing the NBMEs because you haven't done my content. Do my PDFs, do my YouTube MCQs, do QBank, like actual QBank, you'll pass the NBMEs. It's not Kaplan, it's not DIT, it's not BNB. Okay. Let's see. Take first pass through FA worth it? Look, I mean, nothing against FA. Okay. It's FA served its purpose during the numerical step one era. That's what it was. I mean, there's nothing against FA. I'm agnostic when it comes to resources. Okay. It's that, when step one was numerical, FA, knowing every little subunit of every, like, for example, there was a drug called Mehlmanmedical CD3, an immunosuppressant that's like lower yield, and it binds to the epsilon subunit of CD3. Okay, it's immunosuppressant. That question was asked once on like a very old NBME exam, like NBME like 3 or 4 or something. Okay, like it exists, but it was in FA, and shit. And you could say, well, why not just like know every detail? Step one's not numerical anymore, right? So you don't need to know every detail. That's why my content just cuts to the chase. That's my theme. Cut to the chase, and you just got to pass step one. None of the minutiae. You don't want to memorize 50 things for every one that's going to show up on the exam. So that's why my PDFs, like that info, is right from the NBME exams. Let's see. Someone's asking about Texas. I go back to the chat to scroll, and then it like loses my place. So it's like hard for me to stay in order. And then you guys are asking a lot of questions. Gaurav asks, what step 2 score should one aim to get into psychiatry? Just pass. Just pass. Obviously, ace step 2 if you can, but you'll be fine if you just pass. Taha asks, hey Mike, just a quick question. How many questions in step 1 are pass fail? Like how many are medium difficulty questions, etc.? That's actually that's a good question. I'd say maybe actually I would say literally it's funny. It's not even an opinion. It's literally like 2/3 because you need about around 2/3 to pass, right? So that means literally 2/3 are pass level. So it's not anyone's opinion. Okay, so about 2/3, the number of questions correct you need to get to pass would be those that are pass level. So yeah, how many maximum incorrects can I get to pass? About a third. Do you think it would be easier to match to a family med first year than a transitional year? Probably about the same. That's from Alan. Alan, I think I recognize your name actually. You're very active on my YouTube. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you. I'm not just saying that. I think I recognize your name quite a bit on my clips. You're active on my clips. Dania says micro PDF and farm, please. My derm PDF is loaded with micro. Okay, I get that question a lot. I need to put out micro content, probably micro cards, micro Anki. I'll do that at some point. But yeah, the derm PDF. If you want micro, do the derm PDF. And then below on the free stuff tab on my site, if you go below the PDFs, there's a free assessment section. There's a virology there. Okay, so I've got a virology PDF in there. So Mira asks, thank you, Mike, for all the unlimited information guidance. Can you please make a separate playlist for guidance related to match and application process? I mean, I have, okay. That's like a very nitpicky thing. It's more like, should I make a video? Like a couple videos on match and application process. I could do that. Okay. I mean, I could make it's more like I stay within my lane. You know what I mean? I can give general informal advice on match and application process, but like I'm not a fucking program director, right? So my role is like teaching USMLE. So there are people who know more specifically about the actual like mechanics of the match and application process. I'm more just informal advice on that. Are you going to release ophthalmology PDF or general path PDF? I do need to do an opthal PDF. It's just I know there's a lot of things that need to come before that, but I could do that. That was Bugra. Georgie asks, which subjects do you think is best to start? I mean, when you start from zero, is it cardio, pulm, renal, gastro? Do those PDFs from start. Chakadar. Okay, so what are must-do high-yield PDFs for step 2 CK, and what's the best source or best way to approach infectious diseases ethics? I have an ethics communication PDF on the free stuff tab, so do that PDF. And I already talked about for infectious disease. There's some in the gastro, like the helminths are in there, and also just do the derm PDF for sure. There's a lot of micro in there. Sajal asks, hey, Dr. Mike, I scored 58 in my comp exam. How much time will it take me to pass comp? So that's a long discussion. Okay. I mean, I just put out a video on comp. The video I just put out on comp CDSC was possibly the worst like one of the worst performing videos I've had. It didn't get any new subs, and it just underperformed because it's niche. I knew that was going to happen. It's like if I put out a video talking about something very hyper specific for step 3, it's like going to not get views, right? Because you guys aren't studying for step 3, like the vast majority of you. So like I knew that video was going to be shitty performance, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a good video, but you guys didn't like it. So, but 58 on comp, yeah. I mean, to get into this, 58's good. I like 58. I'd say a month because it depends on your school, right? So your school might say like 62 or you need a 68. Like it depends on your school, but I'd say about a month to a month and a half, maybe. I like my students clearing by a higher margin. So like I, if you need a 65 to pass comp, I want you to get a 70. Like I'm not content with, you just YOLOing. Okay. You only live once. I'm not okay with like you being borderline going into the exams. Doc Monopoly says, how important is it to have step 2 completed by September, deadline for match? I think it will take until the second step 2 completed by September. Yeah, that's more specifics to the match process. I'm not an expert on that. Aschad Abbas says, is there a sense of security while doing 2CK? 2:30 a.m. here. So if I'm like cracked out, that's why. Is there a sense of security while doing 2CK? For step 1, there was always a feeling of, okay, this answer is correct, but there's always uncertainty. Step 2 questions are more nebulous than step 1, 100%. Like step 1 questions, you'll like literally look at like some fungal histo. Well, I guess it's not histo, right? Just like a photomicrograph. You look at it, it'll be like branch septate hyphae, 45 degrees is aspergillus versus 90 degrees is mucormycosis. And it's like, that's concrete. So you know that that's the answer for step 1. You say it's 45 degrees. I know it's aspergillus. Or it's rare fruiting bodies. I know that's aspergillus. Whereas step 2, it's like, do you give fluids? Do you do fluid restriction? Do you like raise the head of the bed? Like, I mean, a lot of the questions can be, yes, more nebulous for 2CK. 2CK is way harder than step 1. Okay. So a lot of students think it's the other way around. They say like, oh, like step 2 is so much easier. It's not. Step 2 is way harder than step 1. I think it's just that most people find step 2 content more interesting than step 1. I think that's what it actually is. Because if you're interested in something, you're gonna, think it's easier. So Georgie asks, no, I've read that. Please talk about residency and matching. I have a question regarding step 2CK 2024 match. Is your surgery PDF good to go through before rotations? Yes. Do the surgery PDF. Yeah, you can do it before your surgery rotation or before general rotations, but obviously it's for your surgery rotation. Mike, you said answer the ethics question by intuition. So does that mean I shouldn't go through ethics high yield PDF? Okay, that's a good question. I've said don't waste your time on ethics, and I do agree with that. Okay. Like I don't have my students study ethics. The reason I made an ethics PDF is because I think it was in 2021 in the spring, the exam, they added more ethics. So students were like hardcore OCD about ethics at that point in time. And people were bugging me about ethics. Okay. The same way you guys are bugging me about Path PDF right now, people were bugging me about ethics. So I put out an ethics PDF. It's fucking amazing. Okay. Excellent PDF, ethics communication on my free stuff tab. But I think that it's just EQ for the most part. Okay. So you can just guess your way through those questions. So what specialties can I be in if I just pass 2CK? Family medicine, internal medicine, obs-gyn, peds, psych. I'd say those for sure. Hello, Boss Mike. I know Jim asks, in your recent videos, you analyzed how we should study from what resource, etc. Questions. If my knowledge base is very weak, what should I do to get a solid base USMLE wise? Go through my PDFs, go through my YouTube MCQs. Jack James Bond, 65 on comp, need to get a 70. What do you think I should do? Just your PDFs, YouTube MCQs. That's what you need to focus on. I'm serious, go through high yield arrows. It's a long discussion. I normally do Skype sessions with people to talk about their specific plans. Aziz asks, I'm planning on studying for step 2 CK. starting the academic year, do you recommend doing one block of UWorld random and one block of AMBOSS subject specific? No, just do one QBank at a point in time and just do random mode. Don't do QBank subject specific. Random untimed tutor blocks of 10 is what I like. Some students say, no, I want to do longer blocks. Great, do your longer blocks. But for those of you getting like ADHD going through QBank, really boring, just do blocks of 10 here. So, but for subject specific, like while you're going through QBank subject specific, do like a PDF of mine, like cardio, with the cardio questions in my YouTube playlist. And like that's your quote unquote subject specific study while you're going through random mode, right? In QBank. So you can choose it if you feel like you're jack fucking shit at like, immuno, you suck at it, then like go through while you're going through QBank random, do the immuno PDF and the YouTube MCQs, the playlist and immuno at the same time. I mean, that's a good way to do it, right? How to diagnose swimmer's ear? Well, there's a question on one of the Family Med forums where they want you to know that acetic acid alcohol drops are the prophylaxis for otitis externa. Okay, they say there's a guy who does crew, and he's going to continue to have exposure to water, and they say which the following will decrease recurrence of this patient's symptoms. And the answer is acetic acid alcohol drops. Okay, that's prophylaxis for otitis externa. Treatment for otitis externa is topical ciprofloxacin hydrocortisone drops. Okay, and then there's a carbamide peroxide drops. Wrong answer, which is for earwax buildup. Okay, but like they like Pseudomonas for that. I don't really want to talk about med content. That bores the shit out of me. Is doing incorrects on UWorld important when 2 weeks away from? Absolutely. Okay, so Sai asks, is doing incorrects on UWorld important when 2 weeks away from the exam? Hell no. Okay, so you shouldn't be touching QBank like basically within the final month. Okay, so you really got to make sure the NBMEs are your priority leading up to your exam. Like I've harped on that so much. See, you guys watching this right now, there's like those of you who know my strategy, like my views really, really like concrete and well. And then you get like annoyed if I talk about the same strategies. But I mean, I get asked the same questions all the time, right? So you got to focus on the NBMEs. 20 through 31, free 120 for step one. And then for step two, you're going to do all the CMS forms and you're going to do NBMEs 6 through 13. Let's see. Christian asks, how do you recommend utilizing your PDFs for IM shelf? All of them. Okay. IM is very, very, very broad. You can do the high yield mixed reviews 1 through 4 as well. But cardio, pulm, renal, gastro, heme. Okay. Heme, derm, you're going to do that. So you're going to just cover all those PDFs, neuro, cover all those PDFs for internal medicine. Carefree Medico says, sorry, I really like your high yield PDFs. And by the way, I've printed all your PDFs and I think there's no PDF for microbiology. You're right. There's not. Do high yield derm. Okay. There's a lot of micro and high yield derm. Let's see, lifetime AMBOSS is lifetime AMBOSS subscription worth it? I would not vote for that. I would not vote for a lifetime subscription to AMBOSS. That's like so audacious. That's almost like you delete the question. You literally delete that. No. See, Nandita, you deleted your question. I thought it was the question I was reading. Can you make a video? So PG, yes. Can you make a video on old graduates and their chances of getting matched to IM programs? I recently cleared my step one. I would guess that after about 3 years, the doors start to close. Okay, they become more and more difficult. That's what a high USMLE score will build you leverage. If you just pass, you need to apply right away. If you're sitting on a 287, who gets a 287? Nobody. If you're sitting on a 280, okay, you could be 5 years out of med school, and then you could sit a step three, like pretty soon. Step three, if you've been out of med school for a while, sitting step three is very important. Okay, so sitting step three shows recent competency. Okay, so that is what I would do if you're an old grad. Get step three out of the way for sure. Melvin asks, likelihood for making the jump to 250 plus in a week for step two after getting low to mid 240s. It's doable. You could do it. It could literally take an exam tomorrow and get like a 255. It's coincidental. You know, it can go the other way as well. People think like you sit an NBME, you get a 231, and then you sit like another NBME 3 days later and you get like a 249. You didn't go up all those points. It was coincidental. Had you sat those exams in reverse order, you would be all depressed thinking you went down. Okay. So most of the NBMEs are just a toss up, more so than you actually changing in terms of your knowledge base or anything. Obviously you review and that's going to help you go up and score. But if you go down an NBME as an example, like don't stress out about that. It's coincidental. Lorenzo, good to see you keeping the dream alive. EHAB, how to maximize chance for 265 plus on 2CK? Well, you got to fucking study, right? Opinions on Anki, I talked about it. I don't recommend Anki for QBank. Just do Anki for your NBME incorrects. And of course, I have Farm Biochem Anki on my website. Do you work elsewhere in Japan as well? Yeah, I'm a bartender. Mustafa, hey man, micro Anki is highly awaited. So grateful for your content. Taha, hey Mike, just a quick question. Too many questions in step 1 are pass fail like, and how many are medium difficulty questions? You asked the same question. I answered your question, Taha. So I said pass fail. So I mean, because you need a 67-ish% to pass USMLE. By definition, that means 2/3 must be pass level questions, right? That has to be the case. So it's not about anyone's opinion as to this question seems easy or this question seems hard. If you literally need 2/3 to pass, it means 2/3 of those questions are pass level. Like any of the hormone questions I've said are pass level. PTH, vitamin D, right? Thyroid hormone. Aldosterone, ADH, all the renal failure questions, DKA, acid base, okay, bicarb, CO2 questions, any of those hormone questions, any electrolyte, any endocrine type questions, you can't miss. And then you can't miss any pathophys questions on high yield diseases, any disease, okay, anything that you can think of, CF, Duchenne, Becker, right? Von Willebrand disease, hemophilia, like Wilson, hemochromatosis, hereditary spherocytosis, like literally any disease you can think of, you got to just know how the disease works and like answer those questions. And so if you don't miss any pathophys questions and you don't miss any like endocrine, hormone, electrolyte questions, you pass. You can get questions wrong on weird pharmacokinetics. You can get questions wrong on weird biochem. You can get questions wrong on weird neuroanatomy. You can't get questions wrong on like pathophys of basic conditions. Like if you get a question wrong on hemophilia versus, von Willebrand disease or versus ITP, that's dangerous. If you get a question wrong on SIDH versus DI, that's dangerous. You can get a question wrong on like, is this lateral versus medial medullary syndrome or Weber syndrome? No one gives a fuck. So let me see here. If I don't like, Nandita asks, if I don't like sketchy micro, can I use boards and beyond in your dermatologist? It's so laughable. Nandita, come on. No, I'm just sort of like, you don't need sketchy, but if it will really help you retain, you can do it. I just recommend going through QBank. Can use boards and beyond. Like it's like laughable. Like when have I ever said to use that? I've never fucking once said that. It's laughable. Judah says, like, would you ever consider making a QBank? No. Well, actually, what am I saying? I'm making audio QBank. The YouTube is the QBank, right? So I mean, I'm making a QBank. That's what I'm doing right now. So, but not a written QBank like UWorld. No, I don't feel like that's the best use of my time. Zane asked, does UWorld boards and beyond in first aid enough? Laughable. Nah, it's not what you want to do, man. It's laughable. Do a tetrad. Tetrad is going to be QBank. Okay, UWorld or Amboss, non-superior to each other. It's number 1. Number 2, my free ideal PDFs. Number 3, YouTube MCQs by playlist here on my YouTube clearly. And number 4, all the NBME content. That's your tetrad for both exams. Step 2, of course, you have the CMS forms as part of your NBME content. Juliet asks, 210 score in NBME. Step 2, practice test. Is it good to clear? It's not, because you need a 214 to pass. So I'd say I want people getting 220 plus. I look for 220 plus on practice step 2 assessments. Okay, I want to see 220 plus. So I want a buffer. Okay, so like for step 1, I like converting people's 2-digit percentages into 3-digit scores. So, because the scales are different per exam. So a 65% on one form is different from a 65% on another. So you use the Reddit conversion scale. So you take, let's say, NBME 25, you type in a Reddit, like NBME 20, or not in a Reddit, into Google Images, NBME 25 score conversion Reddit, and then you get a graph of the best fit line. You type in the number of incorrects, and it will give you a 3-digit score. 197 is pass, the pass mark internally. I like students getting a 205 to 210 plus. So it's like converting Celsius and Fahrenheit, but I like that because I can mentally process like how long it's going to take a student to get over a hurdle, and um, I can gauge like whether the student's ready to sit. I prefer that conversion. So is 1 month out, score 65% NBME enough to pass? You're real borderline, Bashar. Aishwarya says, done my surgery residency here in India. Okay. AAA says, hi, I took NBME 25 and got 58%. I did all of UWorld and your PDFs too. I continue with NBMEs or redo. No, you're not going to do. You're not going to redo UWorld. I would have to see. This is the thing. When I get a question like this, there's so much to ask you. It's like, well, when is your exam? What other NBMEs have you sat? Have you done 23, 24, and free 120 already? Like, there's so much I would chat with you about. Okay. Taha, still asking the same question, Taha. Taha, you spam the chat with the same question because you wanted me to answer it. You wanted me to see it, which you accomplished your goal. But now I'm seeing your same fucking question like 12 times over. So, Marisa, how long should you wait after passing NBME comp to sit? Immediately. So, immediately after you pass NBME comp, I want you sitting step one. Because when you pass comp NBME, okay, and it is more complicated than that. Okay. Could talk about it for like 20 minutes on that, but the higher the bar is to sit comp or to pass comp, then you're more likely to just pass step one right away, right? So you're just increasing the specificity. You're going to pass. You're ruling you're going to pass if that comp bar is set higher. Some schools have a lower bar. Okay, like you got to get a 62 to pass, and then, well, cool, you pass comp, you can stay in med school, but you take an NBME and your scores aren't as high. And then you've got other situations like SGU with their BSFCR, and then you've got AUA that's just moved to an internal exam, which are not NBME administered, apparently. They're written by staff who have no fucking idea what NBME questions are about, and they're no longer going to be accurate the same way. So, but I normally like to say if you pass comp at like a 65%, that's the equivalent of getting a 65% NBME. So, I prep students generally for comp and step one exactly the same. Let's see. But you said how long after? Pretty much within 2 weeks. I want after you pass NBME comp, pretty much within 2 weeks for a lot of students. I want them sitting step one. Okay, but those NBMEs have to be above 205, 210 plus equivalent. They have to be when you do the conversion using those graphs online that I just talked about. Someone asked, my genetics is bad. Do you have any advice how to improve it? Yes, do my high yield genetics PDF. It's fucking excellent. AAA asks, if you do your farm modules, would you say it's enough for farm? Yes. And the Anki are really good too. Bashar asks, is 1 month out of a score of 65% NBME enough to pass? I already answered the question. Let's see. You guys are like fucking spamming same question. How do you recommend the last week of prep before step one? NBMEs only. Okay, so the last week of prep before step one is going to be literally honing in on just like 25 through 31. I come up with custom schedules for students. That's what I do. So normally a student knows what they're doing day by day anyway. But like if you're asking me generically like this, and just qualitatively, like what are we focusing on? It's got to be the NBME. It's like, no, you're not going to be doing like UWorld or anything in the final week. VJ asks, Mike, NBME 20 equals 40%, and your exam's in 2 months. Please tell me what I want to do. It's very low. I'd say you're not ready, even close. I would say you have to go back to QBank I'd say you need 3 months. So I'd say if you have 40% on NBME 20, I want you literally doing an entire fucking QBank. You need 2 months back on QBank. And then you got to do all the NBMEs again for another month. You need 3 months. You say, Mike, that's like too long though. I don't want to spend 3 months. Well, don't fucking YOLO. That's what it is. It's a balance, right? We're just You want to get maybe to pass level and sit, you're fucking YOLOing, it's risky, right? I prefer students getting higher. Like, I mean, I prefer you passing by a margin, not just like you YOLO and then you barely fucking pass, 50% chance of the fail. I don't want that. So Soneri asked, do the audio Q bank really help? The audio Q bank really helped me the most. Still waiting on my results. Yeah, but they're really good. Anu asks, hi Mike, step 2 in 5 weeks. NBME 9, 65%. What do I do? The final 5 weeks should be CMS forms and the NBME exams. That's without coming up with a custom schedule for you. As I said, I come up with custom schedules for people. But you just got to focus on the CMS, the NBME content, and my PDFs, of course. Rediscovering asks, where am I find your surgery part 2, neuro part 2 PDFs? They don't exist. Isn't that like weird? Like I created part 1s for whatever fucking reason. I didn't change like the names of the URLs or whatever. And then like forever, I got to get fucking asked about like part 2s. Like I didn't realize like the annoyance that I was creating for myself when that happened. Like I had no fucking idea. It's like when I said I was going to make a path PDF. Now it's just like I wake up every fucking day to like people just asking about path PDF, like never shutting the fuck up. Ziad asks, will you make micro Anki within these 3 months? No, I will not make micro Anki within 3 months. Maybe later this year. ABDO asks, which resources should be used to review NBME CMS question explanations? UWorld Stat Pearls I've never fucking heard of Stat Pearls. Maybe I've heard of that. I don't know why you're asking about that. But what resource should you use to review NBME CMS question explanations? I would use ChatGPT. Okay, so I would ask ChatGPT. I'm dead fucking serious right now. Okay, so you got to start using, you got to really start fucking educating people. People ask really dumb fucking questions in the Telegram group. Okay, obviously I got to migrate to the new group now, but people ask some dumb fucking questions. That's like, use Google, use ChatGPT. Okay, so if you have a question, literally ask it, and then be like, yeah, but I'm still literally like you're talking to a human. Be like, I'm not sure though. What do you mean by this? And it will literally elaborate for you. Okay, so use ChatGPT when you're going through NBME and you have questions about the explanations. Could you elaborate on IMG coming to the US? What are the most important things? Are clinical rotations crucial? Obviously, having letters of recommendation, clinical experience, obviously all that stuff helps. 95% is your 2CK score. If you can get in at if you can do a visiting clerkship somewhere and they really like you and you get a letter from that institution, that's obviously going to be your best way of getting in. And then you just have to have a really high 2CK score. Volunteer activities mean jack fucking shit. Research only really matters if you're at like a very competitive, prestigious type school. Okay. But like, that stuff's overrated. You can have a lot of research. I've seen students have a lot of research and like decent USMLE scores, and they don't match into what they thought they were going to match into. So like they really look at numbers. And I think a lot of it is because people who are in research, people who actually do research, know that there's a lot of nonsense regarding how some people might get like 40 fucking publications. You're so amazing. But it was like your lab just happened to pump out publications, whereas someone else does like really strong work and they get like 1 publication maybe, but their research is much more important. So there's a lot of nonsense involved in that process. So that's why I think they just say, what are your numbers, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's like that with sports too. Okay. I mean, like they just say, what's the person's batting average? Like what's their fucking, their number of RBIs or their, so let's just see here. Bezad asks, what are my thoughts on Islam? I don't have thoughts on Islam. Carson, I mean, we could go down that conversation, but I mean, like what? Let's see. Carson asks, how much time do USMLE step 2 just after step 1? The soonest you could sit it, I would say 3 to 4 months minimum. Okay. And that's because you need a super fucking high score on 2CK. So we can't risk in any capacity you getting a suboptimal score on 2CK. So if the annoyance is, you're like, well, I don't want to study 4 months for 2CK. I'd rather study like 2.5 months. I say, okay, well, I'm not in control of what you do. Like, do it, fine, 2.5 months. But like, just know that your residency application is 95% your 2CK score. So AAA asks, CBSE comp gives you a percentage chance of passing within 1 week. Yes, it does, but I don't really like necessarily rely on that. I sort of just have my own like, it's weird. Like I just have my own metric for doing that. But I take into account what they give. Like who knows what their if they're objective, they actually have that objective data per se, but I don't really go by when you take NVMe 25 through 31 online, they tell you percent chance you pass, or you said CBSE comp gives you a percent chance of passing within a week. As I said, I don't really like that. Do I take it with a grain of salt? Do I Cow Botech says, do I have to read first aid book? No. Like rapid review before I do NVMe? No. AUC isn't NVMe anymore. Yeah, okay, so AUC we can add to the list, right? So yeah, so it's SGU, AUA. Now we got AUC now because of all the scandals, right? It's probably something like that. But for every fucking school, the percentage chance of passing comp is so low. It's every school. It's not just Caribbean. It's like U.S. schools. I have students who are USMD who at tough schools where they're struggling to pass. It's every fucking school. After doing UWorld and then the NBMEs are low, it's because schools don't know to teach the students to go through the NBME exams. That's why it's not fucking rocket science. It's like if you haven't memorized the NBMEs, like why would you pass? So like George Matthew asks if after doing UWorld and then the NBMEs are low, should I go back to UWorld? That's a good question. I've talked about this where generally high 50s, around 60% is and it depends how far you are from your exam as well. But I'd say maybe if you're below the high 50s, I don't even have you go through the rest of the NBMEs usually. Maybe like under maybe 56 or lower. I'm 56% correct on an NBME or lower. I usually don't have you waste the other NBMEs. Sometimes I have students at 20 and 21 offline first. Okay, so I give you another chance. You get like 56% on 20. I'm like, we can sit 21. It's no problem. You sit 21, you get like 55%. I say, nah, we're not going to do 22 onward because we're wasting those NBME exams because we know you're already going to fail them. You literally need like 10 plus percentage points higher. So I'll have you go back to QBank for a month. Student doesn't want to do that. I'm like, well, okay, don't take my advice. But I mean, it's like, I don't want you wasting the NBMEs. So, but if you can get above like high 50s and above, I can try pushing you through the NBME exams. Oxford Medical asks how I increase my memory like you. Please answer. I mean, like I forget a lot of shit, right? Let's see. Find myself. Ask, would you consider making step 1 and step 2 CK content separately? It'd be much helpful. Yeah, I know it would be. I get asked that a lot, but like the thing is, any step 2 content I make specifically, the views fucking like plummet. You guys are like assholes sometimes. I'm joking, but like, because someone will be like, make a 2CK clip, right? And then I'll make a clip that's like surgery, and then like it gets like terrible views. But if I just write like gastro or like cardio or something, even if it's like surgery, maybe it gets better views. So I know there's a lot of you guys who avoid the 2CK-ish clips. USMLE step 1 says, can you not say fuck in your YouTube clips? Your explanation is amazing and are so good, but fuck words really distract me. I want to give you my dearest care. Well, that's I'll take that into consideration. It's probably not going to go too far though. Natasha, I can't not be me. Natasha A asks, my school wants a 75 on an NBME. It's hell. Yeah, that's really high to write the CBSE, and the closest I've gotten is 6. That's so ridiculous. 75. It's like you need to get a 235. It's like laughable for step 1. It's like I've been doing the online NVMe and your PDFs only went up a few points. Any suggestions? You gotta do the PDFs more. I want you to go back through my PDFs. Cardiopulm, renal gastro, high yield arrows. I want you to know those PDFs, and then you can attempt the NVMEs again. Nico Sass, I got NVMe 57% step 1. I got NVMe 57% step 1 is in 1 month. Doable? Yes, it's doable. It's doable if you got a plan coming from me. This is not a video about me pushing my Skype sessions, but I know how to fucking develop ace fucking sessions or schedules for people. Our Medellin says USMLE RX a good question bank to continue doing my exams in 8 weeks. I already did you. I no longer recommend USMLE RX. I don't really have evidence that they're like actually actively like you know building their question bank or anything, or that they. I mean, Amboss and UWorld are the two question banks I recommend right now. And I know in my previous videos on my YouTube, yes, I pushed USMLE RX. I no longer think that. Mohammed Hassan asks, would you advise students to start reading cardiology for clinical years, an internal medicine book, or review Path Pharm Phys before reading an internal medicine book? Just go through my PDFs. I mean, like when you get to a rotation, there's going to be different requirements in terms of like how much they want you to know, I guess. But like you're talking about USMLE here, not we're talking about USMLE here, not just like internal medicine, like residency level exam stuff. But the Johns Hopkins Internal Medicine Board Review book for internal medicine, fucking amazing. I read that book during my 4th year of medicine for fun. It's a fucking amazing book. Matthew Anthony asks, I got my exam on the 21st of August. I'm still in my prep. I finished one and currently doing generals. UWorld 10%. We'll be able to spend greater than 8 hours during June. And maybe needs to start. What is your question, dude? I don't know what the question was there. NBS. I'm starting to crack the fuck out. Well, it's 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. here in Japan. So NBME 22, 80% NBME 20. You're just listing off scores, NBS. What are you doing? USMLE step 1. You again say, can you twice ask me, can I not swear in my clips? Now you're like going hardcore. You really want to push your values on me. It's funny, like people that they like want to impose. I'm just joking. USMLE step 1. We're friends. No, a lot of people get pissed or like umbrageous or like upset about my swearing. Like people like, it's fine. Let's see. When are you coming to India? Asked Neil. I almost went to India this year, actually. I almost went to India when I was in med school. I got a hepatitis A vaccine. I got a typhoid vaccine to go to India, and it never happened. I ended up going to Fiji, actually. Fiji was fucking awesome. I went there instead of India. Okay. I went to Maldives as well. New Caledonia. It's good when you live in the South Pacific Islands, there's like good places to go to. So finished UWorld first time. Let's see. Dr. Khan says, no. Sorry, Dr. Khan, I lost your question. Yeah, here goes Amy Choi. Says, don't use the fuck words, Dr. Mike. You can be so much better. Amy Choi, relax. Okay. ABDO says, how to pick better answers when answer choices are correct by asking for next best step. Don't pick dumb answers. I've said when you don't know an answer, don't choose weird sounding shit. And common answers are common. So sometimes the answer really is just asthma, not bronchiolar alveolar carcinoma, whatever. Okay, it's asthma. Are your PDFs enough for passing step 1 along with UWorld? Some same questions. Yes, you want to do my PDFs. That's funny. Jishnu asks how to go about last 2 minutes before step 1. Don't do warm-up questions the morning of. Don't do that. Okay. So like when you wake up on step 1 day, ideal situation is you have conversation. I know this sounds weird. Is you have conversation with someone like driving you to the testing center. Like when I sat step 1 back in 2012, I had my dad drive me to the testing center and we just like made conversation in the car, because that gets you out of the like Monday morning silence on the subway type of headspace, right? So you just kind of get up and active and have caffeine, but don't do any warm-up questions or anything like that. Melnuts asks, best CMS forms to go through for step 2, CK if you're limited for time, internal medicine, surgery, family medicine. Mojal asks, read your PDF first, then jump to QBank. Can be false negative result. No, it's not true. That's like perpetuated nonsense from like Reddit. If you do my PDFs and then your scores go up, it's because the PDFs are good, not because you have false positive results. Let's see. Narciso Ortiz says, hello, Michael. What is the best way to go through NBMEs 20 through 24 offline? So I've talked about this, 25, 31 online. It's a long fucking discussion. I'll really cake the fuck out right now if I have to go through that again. But you can make Anki cards of your incorrects, and you're gonna do stacked review of those incorrects as you go through. Okay, so I want you to really know those incorrects from NBMEs 20 through 31, including free 120. I want you to do free 120 prior to NBME 25. Amy, let's see, Amy Choi. I just lost the fucking question again. It like moves where I am in the chat, and then I lose people's question. Where was I? NBS is taking 31 tomorrow. Amy Choi says, hey, Dr. Mike, meet me in Shinjuku. I'm in Osaka. I don't live in Tokyo. I live in Osaka. Come to Osaka. Okay, we'll get some sake or something, right? Right. You can. That's good. That's good fodder for like Reddit. You can be like, Mike said, have a drink with me. Well, you come to Osaka, have a drink. Dr. Khan MD says, just want to say love you, no questions. Thanks. Rediscovering Asta. I am 1 month left for the exam. Got a 235 score conversion on NVMe 10 recently. How should I improve the 250 plus? What should be the revision strategy? 1 month from your exam. I mean, look, you got to review the NBMEs hardcore, yes, on NBME 10. I'd want to know which other NBMEs you took. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. Michael, have you heard of step 1 and 2 combines? No. Dr. Khan, I would like to request step 2 CK specific PDFs and questions. Yes, there's surgery, there's pediatrics, there's obs and gyne PDF that I have. Okay, so the PDFs are there. What are the major topics in step 2 CK? I mean, what? Just your clinical rotations will lead. Come on. Dr. MMA, I am an old graduate, 2007, stuck in neuroscience. Any advice for me? Well, you're not stuck. That's all in your head. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Seriously. So this notion of being stuck, like whether it's you think it's financial or your parents or like they're imposing their their will on you, whatever it is, you don't want to live with your parents. That's a big fucking thing. Okay. So, I mean, since I was 18, I haven't lived with my parents, and that's an important thing, And then when I was 22, I moved to Australia, and I was in Australia for 7 years. And I've been in Japan for 7 years. So you escape those influences and you become very independent that way. Shahir Khan asks, is best way to score high on comp is to study like for step 1. That is correct. Sinde asks, why are your tutoring sessions expensive? Yeah. Umbar Bashir asks, hi, your thoughts on Kaplan QBank? Not applicable to modern USMLE prep. Natasha asks, they want 75 in NBME and they want a 75 in CBSE and will dismiss you after 3 chances. I want to cry LOL, but I will try the PDFs again. Yeah. AAA asks, how did you get hacked on Telegram? It's because I clicked on a fucking link in my iMessage. I didn't think of it. It sounds really fucking stupid, like 7th grade shit, that don't click on stupid links. And people who live in the United States, they get those spam links all the time and they know, obviously don't do that. But I clicked on a fucking link about just securing my account. Really fucking stupid. I wasn't thinking. And that's all it fucking took. That's all it fucking took. But it was my account. It wasn't the group, wasn't anything like that. It was just my account. But my account was linked to the fucking group in the channel. So we're going to lose that old fucking channel and group. Yeah. Just going to lose it. So do you have any information about alternative pathways? Can you be more specific? USMLE questions asked. I think he goes, I think fuck emphasizes stuff, helps with memory. Voice echoes. I agree with you. Mustafa says, just tuning in, love your content. Srikant asks, hey Mike, how much percentage on NVMe steps should you get to be comfortable to take the actual, at least 2/3? Tahu Blad asks, can you sit step 1 literally never studying biostats? No, you need to know basic formulae, sensitivity, specificity, PPV, NPV. The harder stuff, like number needed to treat, number needed to harm, attributable risk, all that stuff. I mean, sure, you should look through it. You should do my biostats PDF. Narciso Ortiz asks, hey Michael, have you heard of USMLE combining step 1 and step 2 into one exam? I have not. Doc Monopoly asks, please address if we need high yield risk factors PDF for step one. I only have a couple of weeks left. Should I prioritize it? It's mostly a step two tilt PDF. Okay. And I talk about this in, well, if you actually literally go to my site on the free stuff tab and you go into you click on high yield risk factors PDF, you know how some of the PDFs in the beginning, I write a little paragraph saying like, this isn't a 700-page superfluous text, right? I have that little preface. Well, I say in the preface in the high yield risk factors PDF, that is a step two tilt PDF. But for those of you neurotic about risk factors, yeah, definitely like go through that PDF for step one as well. Ebot asks, hey, please tell me how to improve score in step 2 CK. Currently scoring 220, 230, exam in 1 month. I mean, yeah, you got to know the CMS forms really, really well and all the NBME exams. I would ask if you've gone through all that. Muhammad asks, I suck at ECG radiology. I am now fourth year medical student. Advise me, do my high yield cardio PDF. There's tons. I put all the ECG stuff in there. It's loaded with ECGs. Okay, so you'll learn a lot in that PDF. Radiology, difficult. That's hit or miss. You don't have to be a radiology expert for USMLE. I mean, I put radiology, like some of the x-rays in the pulmonary PDF, some in the gastro PDF, okay? But like there's some CTs in the gastro PDF, but you don't have to separately study radiology for USMLE. It's a hard subject. Zachariah asks, what things should I do on a 1 month break from step one because of my exams? About to finish studying step one at the end of this month. 1 month break from step one. I would ask if you're going to plan on sitting step two shortly after because you're a post grad, or if you're like going on rotations or something. I would literally enjoy your summer. But you could get started on a QBank though. That's what you would do for step two. You go straight to like Amboss or UWorld and you just get a jump start, and that would help you for rotations actually. Khalid asks, why don't you make a video course? You're superiorly better than any other resource. I am making a video course. It's called the YouTube questions I put out, right? The thing is, I'm not going to put out content and then close it off behind a fucking wall and then charge you like 2K. I could, some people really push that I should like monetize more that way. Maybe I will, right? But Fatima asks, how long should it take me to review an NBME? It's taking me around 4 days. It should take you 2 days tops. How much in depth should I review the incorrect options and correct answer choices? It should not take you 4 days to review. It means you're procrastinating. It means you have to go to a cafe to get stuff done. Like what you can do is get these, okay? Get these or plus or minus these, okay? So go to a cafe and you can get that stuff, get your study done and not be super distracted. And so it should be 2 days. And how in depth should you review the incorrect options? It's a gray area because if they're like weird enzymes, for example, no, you don't have to focus on them. But like if it's high yield conditions like cardiac tamponade, pericarditis, cor pulmonale, yes, you should know the difference between those answer choices. Harith asks, do you have tips to solve really hard statistics questions? Yeah, I mean, like, not like tips essentially. It's just practice with more questions. That's like really what it is. Do the high yield biostats PDF that I have. Dr. Khan asks, your PDFs are incredibly great. We didn't ask. Thanks, Dr. Khan. Osama asks, can I start with your PDFs? The answer is yes, but I would do them alongside QBank. Like definitely, you're going to start with QBank, do 40 questions in the morning, minimum. You have lunch, and then your evening slash your afternoon slash evening can be 40 more questions. So you achieve 80 in a day. I don't want you doing more than 80. Then you can do PDFs in the evening after you finish the 80, or you do the 40 in the morning, you have lunch, then you do the PDFs in the afternoon, evening. Okay. So never fewer than 40 questions, PDFs in the evening, or you do the 80 questions in the evening session as well. Then you do the PDFs at night. Depends how much you're able to do. How come you ended up in Osaka? It's fucking awesome. That's why. I came here for 3 days when I was in fourth year med. I said my ex-girlfriend at the time, who was Aussie, and I was like, I'm fucking moving here. That's literally what happened. It was New Year's 2015-16. That's when I first came here for 3 days. And then I was just like, I was fourth year med and I was like, I'm moving here. Let's see. I just lost whatever fucking comment I was reading. The chat just like moved it away from me. Let's see. Where was it? Okay. Someone says I got scammed by the hacker. I thought you really made an OnlyFans. So I bought a year subscription. I hope that's a troll. That's got to be a troll. I know that that's a troll. That's funny. USMLE question, and if it's not a troll, like no, that has to be a troll. USMLE questions. He's putting out so much free content out there. Just give him a break, people. Someone USMLE blah 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 said that you shouldn't memorize. Yeah, that's hilarious. So someone says someone in this other resource said you shouldn't memorize enemies. Look, everyone's entitled to his or her own opinion. I actually am aware of that clip because someone had sent that to me like ages back and said, "What do you think of this?" If that is the hill someone wants to die on, then that's his or her choice. Okay. So, in other words, I harp on memorizing NBMEs 20 through 31, including free 120. And for 2CK, I've said do the CMS forms twice, but you're also going to memorize NBMEs 6 through 13, including free 120 for 2CK. Memorize those questions. Literally memorize those questions. I want you to know there's another resource out there that's like, the hill he wants to die on is like he's vehemently opposed to memorizing the NBME. So it's not a bad idea. It's not a good idea that you should be focusing on concepts. Like takes it way too literally, way too fucking emotional. Like as a dude, you can't be like emotional like that. Like I don't know why he's like so emotional. Let's see. Allah asks, I also did your PDFs in YouTube question bank. Good. AAA says Reddit hates you, especially the females. But I judge the art, not the artist. Shrikant says, also great job, Mike. Love your PDFs and video. I wish only I found your shit much earlier. Didn't realize until YouTube suggested your video. Well, good. I'm glad YouTube suggested it finally. Jay Moore says, Mike 77% and maybe 26, 83% free 120. Those are good scores, but only 60% through UWorld. I want you, no. I want you to finish UWorld. Thoughts on sitting? No. Don't sit step one now. Finish UWorld. Doctor says, just DR says, I'll start with YouTube Bank. Kushal asks, your exam's July 5th, UWorld 60%. Is it okay if I revise FA and PDFs along with NBME? FA and PDFs along with NBME after finishing? No, where the fuck are we getting FA from? Like, have you seen any of my content? So you're going to do my YouTube MCQs if at all possible. You don't need FA. FA era is over. I'm Nate. That's the name of your username. Hey, Nate. Mike, NBME and CMS sequence for step 2 CK, please. If you are post-grad, you're going to do question banks, obviously UWorld or Amboss. Then you're going to do all the CMS forms. It's going to take you 3 to 3.5-ish weeks. Then you're going to do NVMe 6 through 8 offline. You're going to do second pass of all the CMS forms. You're going to do free 120. You're going to do 9 through 13. If you're on rotations, obviously it's different where you're going to do things subject specific. So you're going to do like all the Q&A questions in that subject, let's say surgery. Then you're going to do all the CMS forms, which is 8 forms, different number per subject, but 8 forms for surgery. Why are you doing them all twice? So if you have a very busy rotation, you can only do 1 form per day. That means you're going to get 8 days to do 1 pass. So you have to carve out 16 total days to do 2 passes of all the CMS forms while you're on the surgery rotation. So let's say that's 16 days leading up to your exam. That's terminally how I want it to be going into your shelf exam. But we calculate number of questions you can do per day at the earlier in the rotation. So based on that, we can say, do we want you doing after you finish all the UWorld or Amboss questions? Are we going to do a second Q bank? Okay, so there's a lot to consider in terms of when you're on a rotation, but you got to do 2 passes of the CMS forms even when you're on a rotation to ace your shelf. Okay. Someone says, I'm a female and a feminist, and I really don't give a shit. Love the work Mike's doing. Hope let's see. We're to learn about academics. Let's focus on that. I agree. She kind of asks thoughts on boot camp for step 1. Nonsense. Zachariah asks, what things should I do on 1 month break from step? You already asked this. Is just attempting step 3 enough, or do we need scores as good as step 2? That's a good question. For overwhelming majority of students, doesn't mean anything. The step 3 score in terms of how high you score it can just show competence. Okay. If you've been out of med school for a while, a strong step 3 shows competence. So that is, yes, the longer you're out of med school, the higher your step 3 score should be. Okay. If you're just going to take it on a, like you've got extra time and we say, why not just work in step 3, then your score doesn't need to theoretically be as high. Obviously, try your hardest though. AP San says, yo, I didn't know this was live. Haha. It's fucking live. Mons now. Mons now. Dude, you go way fucking back. I fucking remember this name. I remember your name from like my earliest fucking videos. Just want to say hey. So happy to see that you're doing well. Yeah, dude. Mons now. You're fucking amazing. I know in my old strategy clips from like 2021, I was reading off one of your comments. I remember that. I was like, Mons now asked this. Anna A says, hey, Mike, I've been doing UWorld in subject-specific manner 60%. Exams in 2 months. I'm worried if I should switch to random now. Just keep doing it subject-specific. Yeah, that's like if a student comes to me, for example, like you were to come to me and you tell me just literally that, you say I've already finished UWorld 60% through and I've been doing it subject specific, I can say it's not a crisis. We can just continue doing subject specific. It's not a crisis, okay? But if you're going to start a QBank from scratch, I prefer it's in random mode. Hey, Mike, I got 236, 2CK, and my assessments were ranging between 245, 255. Yes, very fully loaded. What's the reason for this? I'm shocked. Your scores aren't bad, dude. 245, 255, 86% free 120, 252 on UWSA 2. Those are strong scores. And you're like, that's like trolling to a lot of people here. AP San says, I love your cursing. It's hilarious. JJ says, got a question with baby with burns, suspected abuse, correct answer call, child protective services, or, oh, okay. Let's see. I'm going to ask No, you got to give recess. AP San says, you're the only funny person in this USMLE. Breath of fresh air. So I just lost the fucking question. Let me see. As I said, the chat keeps moving every time. Like what's the next PDF in the works? Nothing right now. I'll get Path PDF out next, I think. But please don't fucking ask me about Path PDF. Like, please do not. But that'll probably be what I get out just because I'm so annoyed about people asking me, which PDFs can you skip for step 2? You could, in theory, anything, immuno, biochem. Okay. Definitely those aren't step 2 level. Neuroanatomy, as I said, you can flip through it. So skip the diagrams and stuff, but the vignettes are very valuable. High-yield arrows is good for 2CK, especially if your scores are weak. Okay. Question, what do you think about incoming medical students only studying for content specific for step 2? Will that be sufficient to pass step 1? It's tough to say. It depends on the student. Because step 2 material is way harder than step 1. So step 1, there's a lot of like annoying basics in there that's not on step 2 as well. So yeah. How about you don't push other people's resources in our fucking chat here? Let's see. Like they're cuck resources. There's certain comments that'll just ban the fucking person. Let's see. Little person, if you don't mind. Little personal, if you don't mind. What specialty did you have in mind when you were in med school, and what made you change your mind about continuing medicine? I mean, fully loaded question, right? I liked peds and family medicine. Family medicine was my favorite rotation in med school. Fucking amazing. I was in rural Australia for family medicine, and it was a clinic that was like low socioeconomic status, and I worked under a fucking amazing, hilarious dude. And we saw I just burned off actinic keratoses frequently. This clinic, fucking amazing rotation, family med. So I was pumped on family med, and I was looking at potentially going to Alaska or Hawaii for family med. I was thinking about it, but then I thought this is a question you got to ask yourself, right? You say well, would I want to do family med in New York? And the answer was no. Why? Because it wasn't the the specialty that I wanted to do. It was like the fact that I wanted to go to Alaska or Hawaii told me that like I just wanted to travel more. And so yeah, I mean, literally, I've lived in Australia for 7 years. I've been in Japan for 7 years. So like, I like travel, and so I didn't really want to go back to the U.S. And I said, the U.S. I'm not interested in the gun culture there. Some people think that's stupid, but like, I don't like. Why would I want to be around guns like that? It's fucking stupid. Absolutely nonsense. In Japan, you can drink. You can drink at the age. Well, it's actually 20. It's actually a high drinking age for. I believe, yeah, it's a 20 drinking age in Japan, but you can drink outside in the street. You could literally just have. I know many of you don't drink, but like but you can have like an open can of alcohol or something on just like on the street, on the train if you wanted to. And but guns are illegal in the United States. Alcohol is illegal out in public, but you can have like your open carry machine gun. Like, how the fuck does that make sense? Right? Like, you can walk around Texas with like an open carry machine gun, but you can't have like an open beer when you're 20 years old, like standing in the street. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense? So like, it's just ridiculous. AP Sans asks, how much more fun is step two? Step one is so much non-clinical stuff. I hated step two prep when I was studying. I preferred step one. I thought step one was way more interesting than step two. I was the other way around. Like, probably 9 out of 10 people like step two stuff better. I hated step two. I actually say, and this is serious right now. I would say going through UWorld for step two was one of the major things that put me off wanting to practice medicine, because I hated it so much, like going through it. I was like, I really think all this stuff is so boring. But I was good at it and I could teach it and all that. So I've learned so much from your content. Thank you, Chiara. Is that Italian name? Ideal timeline for TCK. How much does it take? How much residency priority? Russell says, Melman, really happy that you made a new Telegram group. Well, yeah, it was made on my behalf. I'll be joining in the next day or two. I'm just making sure that everything's 100% safe before I like go back to it, because I got a new account. So everything, as I talked about, we're losing that old group in the channel. It sucks, but it's okay. How to go from 250 to 260, 270 plus on 2CK. You just got to do lots and lots of CMS NBME questions, review my PDFs, my YouTube MCQs. Giovanni says 1 month till exam day, first round, UWorld done 60%. Should I do incorrects? 1 month? No. You shouldn't touch. You're not going to touch QBank in the final month. Absolutely not. So you're going to do in the final month just CMS and NBME is correct. Yeah, don't touch QBank in the final month for step one or step two. So student asks, Abir Asak Ali says, how many papers should a student publish to boost his competitiveness in surgical residency? It doesn't fucking matter. You just got to get a high 2CK score. As I said earlier, I mean, I understand most of you probably haven't been here the whole fucking time, but like, people who actually do research know that it's nonsense in terms of how many papers. You could just get lucky and be under somebody be in a lab where they happen to pump out papers where you had minimal contribution, whereas someone else did a lot of work and they got like maybe a paper, if they're lucky, like one poster, one paper, and their scores are similar. So like, people understand that, when you're actually like in research. I did an MPhil. I was doing a PhD. I fucking hated it. And then I switched it to an MPhil. It's like, Americans don't know what the MPhil is, but it's like in the British system, Australian system, British system, MPhil is prestigious. Okay. It's like, but it's like half of a PhD basically. But I hated the PhD work that I was doing. And I talked to my advisor and he was basically like, well, you finished a master's if you just want to walk. And so I was like, done. I was like literally done. And it was like the greatest fucking day of my life, knowing that like I didn't have to like deal with the lab ever again. I hated fucking working in the lab. Hated that shit. How many papers should a student publish to boost his competitiveness? And, I just read that question. The chat like moved it back up on me. Russell says, finally I can flaunt my 12-month badge. That's fucking cool, dude. Yeah, dude. Thanks for being a member of the channel. Really appreciate it. USMLE Alatbi says, I like to solve questions but not do my PDFs. Okay, that's fine. Just do my YouTube MCQ questions then. AP Sound says, I agree that dudes should not be so emotional. They shouldn't. I think emotions are a weakness in a male. That's gonna really fucking trigger some people right now. But I think men have to be like more solid. Jenny Woolwen says Reddit is a sewer pit to be avoided. Ideal timeline for 2CK. Yeah, we talked about it, right? Great work, Mike. What is a good step 2 CK score? I would say 230 plus is good. 220s. As I said, no. You know what? As I said, if you can match, you can match just by passing internal medicine, family medicine, peds, obs guy, and psych. You can match just by passing. So you don't have to. I say 230 is good, as in like, okay, you'll be more competitive. You say, well, isn't that below average? Well, 50%, literally 50% of people are going to get below average. So it's a lot of people. Okay, so don't worry. Like, just pass. And then don't be entitled to be open to going to like fucking North Dakota or Mississippi or something. Be open to that. Be open to doing transitional years, prelim years. Don't be entitled. Okay, people who don't match, it's not to overgeneralize, but a mistake they can make is if they are entitled and they only apply to categorical 4-year programs and they don't apply to preliminary years and transitional years. You have a lot of programs who want to fill those spots up. Michael asks, are your family med and pediatric PDFs essential for step 1 prep or just step 2? Family med is a step 2 PDF. However, it's got a lot of MSK in there. It really does. But I have the high yield MSK anatomy PDF, rheumatology PDF, so you can just do that. Pediatric PDF, no, you don't have to do that for step 1, only for 2CK. Kai Somar says, any information from recent step 1 test takers? I heard the exam is getting updated and it's harder. No, it's not harder. It's just people's emotions. McAllister James says, recipe for honors peds shelf. Yeah, easy. So you're going to do all the peds questions for Amboss or UWorld. And you're going to do the peds PDF that I put out on my site for free. And then you're going to do the peds playlist here on my YouTube. And you're going to do all the peds CMS questions twice. So that's 8 forms for peds, I believe. Peds, yeah, there's 8 forms now. So you're going to do them twice, literally. Okay. So, and you'll get high pass or honors. People who like don't perform well enough on their shelves, like who come to me, let's say they've done some rotations before, like they come to me, they're going to do their peds rotation. They say like, okay. And I say, what rotations have you done? And they say like, I did surgery or something. And, they're like, I got X score. I did okay. I'm like, did you do the CMS forms? And they're like, no. Or they did like a couple of the forms. And I'm like, we got to do those forms like twice. Dude, someone keeps pushing this other fucking dude in my chat. It's like, go fuck yourself. Let me see here. Don't compare me to cucks. Srinivasa says, for step 1, should I do your whole derma and MSK PDF completely? Yes. Yes, you should. They're excellent PDFs. I underemphasize my MSK PDF. That's a really good PDF to do, the MSK PDF. So that's a solid PDF. Samuel says, feeling down after step 2. That's fine. You got to figure out an outlet, you got to travel or something. That's what you got to do. Best resources for step 3. Same as step 2. Okay, the prep's basically the same. 3:30 a.m. here in Japan. Sorry if I'm like cracked out. Sorry, I didn't make my list question clear. Zachariah says, I asked for what things should I study while studying for exam med school. I'm currently still preparing for step 1, finishing 90% of it. I've been watching your videos. Amazing. I regret pursuing USMLE 2 years ago, giving up anesthetics. Step 1, I haven't done anything. Still reading the same questions. Any new PDF you're working on? Not right now. For step 1, should I do your whole derma? You already asked that. You're bombing the chat with the same fucking question. Serene Vasa. It's like the strategy. It's like bomb this chat with the same question. And then like, see, I'll go to the bottom here. A 274 and NDME 8, chances of a 287. I would say a very low chance. You're talking going from like, you have to basically get like 1 wrong. I think that's how you get like a 287. You get like 1 wrong. on like, maybe, yeah, not even 2 wrong. I think you'd have to get like 1 wrong on the whole exam or something. Going backwards. This is so motivating. Bigger picture. Thank you. Propranolol 10 milligrams before exam. Good idea. I would not do that. I would actually be hyped. Judah asked, I would say being hyped up is better. I'd say be like having atrial fibrillation during your exam is superior to being a partial crackhead. That's what I would say. So I would actually not want to be set. I wouldn't want to be suppressed or reduced in terms of my activity during that exam, during the step. I'd want to be fully like active. Are you a watch enthusiast? What's your favorite brand or model? Yeah, I mean, I do like watches. This is a G-Shock. I've got a red G-Shock as well. I'm currently studying with First Aid USMLE Step 1. Here come the cuck questions again. That's right, you delete that question, Srinivasa. I'm just joking. I didn't see what you wrote. I'm currently studying with First Aid USMLE Step 1. Can I use that book for studying for PLAB exam? I don't know jack shit about the PLAB exam. I don't know anything about that. I stay in my lane. I do USMLE. Some people are deleting their comments up top. Look at that. Because you want to rewrite it in the bottom or something. Vincent says, I'm so grateful. I'm going back up to upper comments now. I'm so grateful for your content, YouTube, website, Monkey. MBMEs went from 50 to 60s in 2 months. Thank you. Changed my mentality for step 1. Thank you, Vincent. He's right. Prince CS says he's right about research aspect. I did a database research product. Anytime someone pulls data from that, I get my name on a paper. It's nonsense. Well, it's ostensibly nice, right? It's ostensibly nice. Like it's, you can say I got like your high number of papers, but like people who actually who make the decisions regarding your application, who have involvement in research themselves, who are not students who wish they had papers, these actual people making the decisions, they understand like the research process and that it's largely a toss up. But they will look at what your interests are. If your scores are good, they'll look at your interests. If your scores aren't good, they don't give a fuck. Okay, I mean, that's what it is. I only have enough time to take one NBME form, says Jay Bear. Which one do you think is most predictable? Just do the latest form, 31 for step 1, and you're going to do NBME 13 for 2CK. So which CMS forms are low yield for step 2CK? EM, no, EM's important to do. Low yield, I would say. Neuro is overblown. I don't know why there's 8 neuro forms. That's like really fucking weird to me. I don't know why there's 8 neuro forms, but too many neuro forms. Let's see. Agent Fresh says, can you talk retention and note taking? I don't take notes. I wouldn't recommend taking notes, Agent Fresh. Just read. And you got to understand that you're going to remember and forget and remember and forget. That's like the process. That's what you got to just do. Okay. You remember, forget, remember, forget. Can you talk retention? No. What's an alternative for someone who hates the clinical work and still wants to be in the medicine lane? So, you get the cliches like pharmaceuticals, stuff like that. You can teach. I would not advise going to a university. That would be nonsense. You can use the internet to build a platform for yourself. Hi, Mike. Do you suggest your high yield USMLE reviews parts 1 through 4 for USMLE step 1? Yes, you can do those. There is some 2CK-ish type, indications for statins and stuff like that. Like there is some stuff that's 2CK-ish, but if it feels very clinical to you, you can just skip over it. Those high yield reviews, parts 1 through 4, were based on the internal medicine CMS forms for 2CK, but because there's so much overlap with step 1, then it's perfectly okay to do those for step 1. Mohammed says, why not answering my question about HS? What is your question? I didn't see your question. What is a good score about NBME 31, a week and a half out? What is a good score of 31 about it? Well, at least 2/3 to pass, but I'd say 70% plus is good. Cody says, I love you, Melman. Thanks. You spelled my name right too. Judah says, if you took step 1 and 2 today, what numerical score do you think you'd get? Step 1 around probably I get 270 plus step 2. I'd get 270s. Nice guns. Champion says, if an amboss step 1 Q bank 80% regularly, you world yet to start. RX, like here we go with all the stats and the scores. RX Q bank 80%. But some questions which I get wrong, I'll be left with 2 options. So is the percentage good? Champion, what are you asking? It's 3:37 a.m. where I am. Like I can't like abstract think through your fucking paragraph here. Like fucking write like a actual short question I can like grab onto and answer quickly. Newer All Hussein says, can we use USMLE, QBank, or any resource for step 1 pass? The same time use it. I think I'm just starting to crack. Either I'm cracking the fuck out or there's too much like English second language questions going on right now. It's one or the other. I think it might be a combination of both right now. Yeah. Why don't you increase production value on these videos? Could blow up the popularity of such a valuable channel. Well, look, that's a long discussion as well. I prefer everything organic. I don't want to advertise. I don't want to push my videos and destroy. The algorithm knows what's best. That's what it is. The algorithm knows what's best. And my videos haven't gone viral because my clips are hyper non-clickbaity. They're the boring, most boring titles they could possibly be. You know, my YouTube questions. Because if I give away what the question is, like, I mean, what's the point? Like, so, but that shows you I'm not about me. I'm not making it about like giving you a clickbaity title. It's about like literally, here's your question for the day, and then like you can just do it. Okay. So Mohammed's asking an NBME, hereditary stereocytosis, normocytic, normochromic, where it should be hyperchromic. What is? No. The answer is normocytic, normochromic on the exam. It is. So what is the explanation scientifically? Well, yeah, there you go. Very fucking excellent response there. Chat GPT. Fuck yeah. That was a very fucking good answer. I'm happy about that. It's so good. That's like my favorite thing I've read in this chat so far. I'm currently having 55%. Hassan says currently 55% correct New World. Also have completed 30%. Should I take an exam date? Yeah, you want to pick an exam date for sure. So you're going to calculate when you're approximately going to finish U World, and then you're going to add another 5 weeks from that point. That's going to be your exam date. Khalid says, I'm only doing NBME's 20 to 25 U World questions per day. Do at least 40. Do at least minimum 40 questions per day, maximum 80 questions per day. That's what you're going to do. I got a 64. Alex says I got a 64 on NBME 31 a week and a half out. Didn't you ask that question? Did someone else just ask that question? What do you do? You got to do other NBMEs because that score is not where we want it to be. I don't like 64% a week and a half out from USMLE. That's too close for me. I don't like that. You're going to have to do other NBMEs. 3 months at Ahmed Mubashir says 3 months out of exam, U World finished. Should I start Amboss along with your PDFs? No. I only want you doing one QBank. You can, if you finish QBank, and I don't know if you're talking about step 1 or step 2 right now. Luis says thank you. Thank you for all. Rejuvenate says thank you for all you do for USMLE. Mohammed says, how much family connections in the US do help for matching non-US? I mean, if you know people, that definitely helps for sure. You share. Rejuvenate says, I relate so much to what you shared about residency and family medicine and travel. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Definitely. And what's the next place after Japan? I don't know yet. Like I was thinking Korea, but they have I really like South Korea. But South Korea has a lot of problems right now with like I'm not going to go down that whole like discussion, but I really like South Korea. But I think I'll stay in Japan, and I'm on the verge of getting my permanent here. So that's a long discussion as well. I want to be a citizen, but they don't allow dual citizenship. So I'd have to drop my US passport, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep my US passport. Let's see. So I'll just accept the permanent residency. Quick question. Just finished UWorld at 54% of UWorld. Should I do wrong ones? Just finished UWorld at 54% correct. Should I do my wrong ones or just no. You're gonna go to the NBMEs after you finish QA. Vincent says, where do you come up with the hand motions for the intro? It's literally, that's a very, that's interesting, right? Because no fucking idea where they came from. Ashish says, well, I'm asking this again, so I already saw your advice on how to approach UWorld. I'm doing random, and it's super uncomfortable doing it system-wise or topic. Reduce the efficiency a lot. You want to do random mode. You just got to run with it. Okay. It's going to help with your macro retention the best. When you want subject specific study, you're only doing that for 2CK QBank when you're on rotations. You can do subject specific in that front, but for step one, I want you doing random mode. And then you can say, well, what if my school, I'm going to have a quiz in renal in 2 weeks? Well, what you're going to do is, as I've talked about, you're going to do my renal PDF and my renal YouTube MCQs as your subject specific study while you're doing QBank and random mode. Occasionally, if it's a situation where a student's really like fighting to pass, I can sometimes have a student do like extra questions from QBank, but I prefer the random mode for QBank for when you get to the USMLE. So let's see. What do you think is better, choosing residency in USA for more money or choosing residency in home country with comfort? I don't think you need to be comfortable. You can't be pampered. You gotta fucking you gotta explore the world. Yeah, I was never into I was always I'm still a minimalist. I'm absolutely a minimalist. And when I was living in my last place, if you go back to my old fucking videos on the YouTube, it was literally like a dorm room. It was like my rent at my last place here in Japan for the first 6 years I was here. This is not a joke. It was $272 per month, not week. So it was around like 4K a year. Without utilities, it was 4K a year ish. So I mean, I could have lived in a different place, but I liked being a minimalist. And then eventually I changed. I just was like, you know what, I'm ready to upgrade. And this is still minimal. This is still minimal. If I really wanted to, I could get significant upgrades, but I'm not going to do that yet. What do you think is better, choosing residency in US? I just fucking read it. Killed my morale. Is NBME for 2CK also predictive? Yes, they're always predictive. NBMEs are the USMLE. Arrows PDF is gold standard. It is fucking excellent. John Bashara says, thank you, King. Alec says, damn, on that note, I'm going to listen to the rest of your vids on that note. Thank you. Appreciate it. John says, how many weeks to finish NBME 21 through 30? Then to take, you're going to need ever so slightly more than a month. So a month plus 4 days-ish. That's because I know the schedules I make for students generally. I come up with custom schedules for Skype appointments. That's what I do. I'm very fucking excellent at that. But this isn't about me pushing that right now. Russell says, Mike, we don't know your story. What happened after your USMLE exam? The complete story of you landing in Japan. Well, I did well in the USMLEs, and I thought maybe I would keep the option open of going to the US at some point. And then I decided I wanted to go to Japan. I already mentioned it a few times in this stream that I visited Japan when I was in 4th year med and really liked it. And then I just decided to stay here, and it's been 7 years. So Zine says, are CMS forms necessary, or is it enough to just go through UWorld another time? No. You're going to do UWorld once for 2CK. UWorld or AMBOSS once, then you're going to do the CMS forms. Then you're going to do NBMEs 6 through 8 offline. Then you're going to do another pass of all the CMS forms. Then you're going to do free 120. Then NBMEs 9 through 13. Is it mandatory to do UWorld and AMBOSS or just one QBank? Just do one. The bigger picture. How about some travel vlogs? I just lost that comment. The stream pushed me down all the way to the bottom. Okay, I found it. How about some travel vlogs? I could put out more like travel stuff. For step 1, can I pass Pavan? Meeg says, thank you. Pavan says, for step 1, can I pass with sole UWorld alone? Depends on the student. For many, that's not going to be. Many students Most of the students I work with are struggling to pass, and QBank is not enough. Okay, like they really have to go through the NBMEs hardcore. It depends on the student. Okay, like it really does. Like some people can do like some of a QBank and their scores are high, and then but for most of the students I work with, I'd say 80% of the students I have are just fighting to pass. Okay, so let's see. What are you drinking? Says Soli Chen. It's water. This is the best fucking water. This Solon. This. You see that? Solon. This is the best fucking water. It's the cleanest water. It's fucking good stuff. Let's see. Hey Mike, never see you smiling. What is with people's fixation about my lack of smiling? Like, what is the deal with that? Wrong fucking answer. Okay. There you go. You got one. Harry Tag says, I found this very helpful. Can you do a stream every month or every 2 weeks, maybe? Yeah, I mean it's improvised, right? So like we'll see what happens. I don't want to put a label on it, right? I'm not going to say I'm doing it every week or something because if I say that, then it's not enjoyable for me as well. I have to like not be stressed as far as oh I got to do the fucking weekly stream or like I'm not a streamer. Like some people who do like daily streams like that, like that's a big fucking that's a it's a lot on you. So John Bashara asks, well, it's before we go there. Yeah, John Bashara asks, how to get girls while studying for step one. Daniel Stein says, are you a watch collector? Some. There's some watches I look at. Pindy Boy 23 says, scoring 50% on step two URL QBank, is it okay? That's low, but you're just going to continue through and you're not going to focus on your scores. Okay. I don't want you to obsess over your UWorld scores. So if you're watching this clip and you're 30% or 70%, you're just going to continue through UWorld regardless. It doesn't change our management. It doesn't change our strategy. So don't worry about your daily scores in QBank. Okay. Just move through the QBank, do the best you can. And then when you're done, what I want to look at is your NBME scores. That's what I care about. So if you're getting like, you said 50%, I said it's not good, but don't worry. If I can generally gauge where your NBME scores are going to be anyway, based on how you're doing in UWorld. I like to see 60% plus in QBank. I like to see that. But if a student's doing shittier, I say let's just wait till we sit the NBME exams because the NBMEs are the USMLE. They're objective. It's not anyone's opinion. You're going to sit the NBMEs, and if you do well, then it doesn't matter what you had in UWorld, right? So, but generally 60s is what I want to see for someone doing question bank for step one and step two. Meeks, can you make a shirt that says wrong fucking answer? I have shirts that say wrong fucking answer. I literally had merch. I had a store open on fucking Shopify and people like very few people bought the merch. People did buy it, but it wasn't a lot of people. And then so I closed the store because Shopify is extremely expensive to keep open. And you think I'm charged like I put like $40 for the price of the t-shirt and you think, oh, he's an asshole. Who's gonna pay $40 for a t-shirt? I agree with you. Like, but $40 for a t-shirt on Shopify means I get like $4 or something. So like if I had a t-shirt that was like $30, I was getting like 87 cents. It was like absolutely like unheard of. And then I have to pay to keep the store open. Absolutely retarded. So like I just closed the store. So people who got merch, they have very limited merch. Okay, they have very, maybe you could say it's valuable someday. NBS just says, let's see, you're asking more about NBME. Adi Meto says, facing a dilemma about what's considered when I need to choose country in my residency. Monty says, Mike, what do you love about Japan the most? Females. Jimmy Fernandez says, does Adderall work? I'm trying to think. It just got moved down the chat. Fucking lost that shit. Just lost that where I was reading it. Any quick advice for someone 4 days out? High-yield arrows. Asan says, can you speak and read Japanese like a native? No. I can speak Japanese, but it's like street fluent. It's not like native fluent for sure. Can you do residency in Japan? You'd have to sit the Japanese equivalent of the USMLE, basically, which I wouldn't be able to do. nor would I want to. Muhammad says, I followed your advice in regards not taking notes in my first pass through UWorld, but I can't seem to retain material. Is it normal? Yes, it's normal. You don't have to take notes. Muhammad says, is there a way to practice medicine in Japan after having been abroad? You have to be like deeply fluent in Japanese. Like very, very, very difficult. You just have to be very deeply fluent. See, Ryan Harris says the food in Japan is fucking crazy good. It is fucking good. I know the best places that tourists can't find. There's something called kara miso. That's my favorite food, actually. Kara miso ramen. Ramen, okay? So karai means spicy. So kara miso, spicy ramen. Fucking amazing, okay? Like to my IG stories sometimes, and I post like occasional ramen pictures. That's usually kara miso ramen. And I'll get like double or triple meat because it'll be like after the gym, and so that'll be like very excellent. You have it, and I'll have it with like a. I try not to drink like beer too much because of the, you know, it's stupid. But I mean, when I'm trying to cut, I'll drink Nihon Shu, like the rice wine. But beer is like, yeah, if I have like a day where I drink beer, then I'll just have to run more. Mao Shu says, already done with the USMLE. Just wanted to say thank you for your content. You too. Dr. Kizar says, bro, I feel after my step one paper that it's quite lengthy and I can't grade the exam either easy or moderate or tough. Is it normal? Is it normal to feel that way after the exam? Okay, that's a good question. How you feel coming out of the exam means jack fucking shit. Okay. So you can feel like this is very cliche where it's like student was getting, let's say, 220 on their practice exam for step two, hypothetically, and they come out and they're like, oh, I failed. Okay. And then they end up getting like a 232. So how you feel coming out, I don't worry about that. It's uncoupled from how you actually performed. It says step one, 3 months out, exam, UWorld finished, only PDF, NBME. What is your question, Ahmed? You have 5 question marks, 4 question marks. I don't know what you're asking. Princess CS says, do you have a girlfriend, Mike? Many girlfriends. Judah says, how do I tell my Japanese girlfriend that I don't like her onigiri? It's awful. Well, onigiri, you know what? I don't really eat onigiri. Onigiri are rice ball, and there's different types. So you can get salmon, sake. Yeah, there's different types. I don't really eat onigiri though. You just got to tell her straight up, like, I don't know, put a steak on the table. COVID says SARS-CoV says is 3 months enough for step one with 20% of UWorld finish with 40% score. 20% of UWorld finish. 3 months enough for 40% score. Terrible. No. I don't like that. 3 months left. I'd want to pump you through QBank as much as possible. And then I'd want you to do my PDFs, and I'd want NBME scores because the NBME scores are going to determine when we are sitting the USMLE. So let's see. Okay. Mike, old IMG here. Doing UWorld second time, but forgetting concepts regularly. Any advice? You're just going to go through the QBank. I'm not worried about you forgetting stuff. As I've said, Mike, really proud of your transformation. You look way more younger than a year back. Thanks, Russell. 20 days in the exam. Can I prioritize some CMS over others? 20 days before your step two, I said prioritize internal medicine, surgery, family medicine, PDS. That's what I want to see prioritize. Jenny asked, do you know the relevance of Kaplan? My school comp is Kaplan. It's hilarious. Kaplan exists only in the B2B environment, the business to business environment. Like students, they're not using Kaplan anymore, apart from like Kaplan does business with schools, right? So like school will invest in the Kaplan course or whatever it is. Waste of fucking time. But it says your school comp is Kaplan. It's unfortunate, but that's your school's decision, right? You don't think about those things when you're applying to med school. Like when you're getting into med school, it's like I got in, hooray! It's not about like the specifics of where how the comps are administered. Kaplan's off the mark though. It was like that's a decade old. I did Kaplan QBank when I studied for USMLE in 2012. And it was still minutia even then. Let's see, I just lost the comment I was looking at. Mike, should we do the retired NBME forms for 2CK? They aren't updated, right? Yes, you should do the retired CMS forms. There's only like two or three questions that are not updated, essentially. There's like one question where they asked for the treatment for C. diff, and the answer on that form was like metronidazole at the time, but Vanc is still listed. And it's like, well, it would just be Vanc now, right? I mean, but it's offline anyway. It's still the same. Like, there's another question about lipids where like the new guidelines are saying lipids in males should be 35 and up, 45 and up for females when you start checking lipids. But there's a question on one of the older forms where like it's a 32-year-old male with like no problems, and they were just like check lipids. That was the answer to that question. That's like the main one I know of that's like maybe a bit whack / outdated. But yes, you're going to do all the CMS questions. Do you recommend for step 2 that we recommend for the CMS you screenshot our incorrects? Like, no. You don't have to screenshot. You do not need to screenshot incorrects from the CMS forms. Just screenshot the incorrects from your actual NBME exams in Anki, not the CMS forms, though. It's a good question. How do you deal with all the synonyms for everything, like different names for different diseases? It's nothing I've ever thought about. Do you have like you mean like Hashimoto, same thing being as chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis? Reasonable Doubt says, will this stream be saved? It should be. It'll be under live, probably. There's a tab that says live. Like you won't see it under my regular clips. You'd have to like manually probably go into the live tab after. People don't really do that on YouTube. Like I don't check people's live like playlists, but that's where this clip will probably go. UWorld self-assessment versus NBME. Step 1. UWorld self-assessments I don't recommend for people anymore. It's very rare that I recommend them. It's only if people have exhausted the NBME exams. There's a time and place for doing the UWorld self-assessments, okay? So, for example, let's say I go nuclear and I create a schedule where you're getting through comp, like you failed comp 4 times, and I create a schedule where we're going to get you through all the NBME exams to get you through comp, which, because if you don't pass comp, you're not fucking staying in med school, right? So we get you through comp with all the NBMEs, and you say, well, what am I supposed to use now? You can use UWSA at that point. That might be like one example. John Bashar asked a question about body fat and testosterone production. Joshua, is 80% on Amboss good? Yes, that's very good. 80% is high. UWorld not yet started. When to start NBMEs? You're going to start NBMEs after you finish QBank. You're 8 months away from the. That's so laughable, dude. That's such a. That sounds like me. Like when I was prepping for step 1 and I was posting on like an old forum back in the day, where I scored like 80. I think I scored 80. I finished UWorld step 1 86% when I did it. I did it timed random 80 back in the day. I recommend tutor untimed random now, but I got 86% first pass. And I was on a forum like trolling and saying like, is that a good score? Cardiac surgery residency at American. How many years? Long time. Your QBank is really great. Salam says QBank's really great. Very helpful. Appreciate it. Thanks. Neil says 1 month out from exam done with UWorld. You don't want to spend money on too many NBMEs. Well, you can do the NBMEs. They should be in our new Telegram group, which is laughable because I have to join the fucking new group in a day or two. Okay, that was created on my behalf just for safety purposes, just making sure my account is 100% good to go. But they should be in the group files within the Telegram group. Okay, and you can do those. Truth Teller says, yeah, Kaplan did a deal with our school. LOL. Yeah, no shit. That's where Kaplan nailed it. Because if you want to do beta, if you want to create a course, that's the route you want to go, just business. VJ, how to download your audio QBank? Is your first 600 question QBank important? Yes. So the first questions I did are very like fucking bootleg. I'm sure some of you have gone back to like the first 200 are just on my website as audio, right? Hence audio QBank. But I don't know, from maybe 200 onward, if you like the first, whatever the number is of the first clip here on the YouTube, very fucking bootleg. Okay. No, I did not have a mic. The lighting was really fucking bad. It was pretty bad. Let's say Ella asks, can you please drop your skincare routine? Sorry, this isn't USMLE related. Use vitamin E oil on my face every night before bed. That's what I do. I have like a thick vitamin E oil that I use, and I've been using it since I was 23. I'm 36, but I used it since I was 23 because in Australia the sun is a big fucking deal there, and so I got in the habit of doing that. So I use vitamin E oil a lot, and I keep healthy, and I run. Well, I started running like earlier, like late last year. That helped me out a lot too. Truth Teller says, Mike, please talk about the relevance of Amboss library, not try to integrate with QBank. I mean, some people use the library a lot, some people don't. I don't really care. Just get through your questions. Bashir says, I get NBMEs 20 and 21, 70%. Can I proceed with the exam? 70%, yes. 70% is good on your NBMEs. Cat bite, causal organism, Bartonella henselae. It's easy. Come on, Ali. I'm just joking, Ali. How much time to prepare USMLE Step 2 CK after Step 1? At least 3 to 4 months I want for 2 CK prep. Jacob, that was Carson. Carson, yes, Carson, you're a good guy. I've seen you around on the YouTube comments. Thanks, dude. I think you said you were around New York or something. Jacob, what should be NBME scores in second attempt after 5 to 6 months? Second attempt after 5 to 6 months? What do you mean, Jacob? Jacob, what are you asking? It's 4:04 a.m. You got to give me like straightforward questions and crack the fuck out. Where to find the retired NBME forms in our Telegram group? Dr. Sodom says, how long does it take to finish UWorld? It should take anywhere between 1 to 2 months. Probably 1.5 to 2 months. 1.5, yeah, 1.5 to 2 months. Sorry if this was answered already. Would you recommend some bullshit resource that I'm not going to say the name of for comp step prep? The answer is no. USMLE Alapi says, so doctor, I understand from your experience we need to focus on high yield, arrow, and cardio, pulmonary, and GIT to pass USMLE step 1. You didn't ask a question. The answer is yes, you need to do that. ABDO, can you give examples of what you ask ChatGPT? Well, if you're going through literally NBME questions, like I'll give you an example. Like, if you want to confirm, like you say, well, I'm not sure about the effects of like hypercalcemia and reflexes and muscle tone, right? Like you're like, well, what would happen? You can ask ChatGPT and it will give you like the answers pretty quickly, where you don't have to like go Googling for everything. Like just ask anything. Can you give examples of what you, Dr. Mike, Emily says, Dr. Mike, I will have the exam in 1 month. My NBME score is around 55 to 58%, and I did all NBME. What should I do? There's so much to unpack there, Emily. Like I got to know like when you took those exams, when your exam is 1 month. You shouldn't have taken NBMEs this early. I'd want to know how much QBank you've done. I'd want to know if it's possible to move your exam at this point. Not saying you have to. I'm just saying like if you could in theory, like how strict your school is being on it. Yeah, I'd want to know which NBMEs you've taken. So yeah, the chat moved again. Lost the fucking question I was reading. Let's see. So, doctor, I stand from your experience. We need to focus. I read that. UWorld timed/tutor. I said untimed tutor random is how I want you going through UWorld. Reasonable Doubt says, all I did to prep was your QBanks, PDFs plus arrows, and the NBMEs. If I fail, I will be at your door. Okay, cool. Hamanth says, hey, Mike, done with exam a few days ago, feeling confused. A few cues were vague, unable to grade my performance. My NBMEs were 70s. Didn't I read that? Dude, I felt like I answered that question like an hour ago. Like this stream's been open for like 2 hours, 9 minutes. I literally answered that exact question from you, I think like an hour and a half ago. how you feel coming out of the exam is uncoupled from how you performed. It was an hour and a half ago. It was probably like half hour ago. Should I do incorrects and then do remaining NVMe 40%? 40%. VJ says 40% NVMe 20. That's terrible. Exam in 55 days. No, 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 no. It's not going to be in 55 days. And then do I redo it? No, no, no. We got to postpone. I want you doing optimistic. Okay. I would say show me. You're going to do a month. You're going to go, you have to do at least a month of QBank before you touch NVMe 21. And then we'll see how you perform. And I would say to you, if you get under 60% on NVMe 21, you're not sitting in 25 days. That's what would happen. Okay. So you get your 40%. You say my exam is 55 days. I'd say just doing QBank my PDFs for a month. Now we've got 25 days left until your exam. I say, show me that you're going to get 60 plus percent and maybe 21 or like 59% plus, and show me. And if you can, I'll move you through the NBMEs. If you get like 52% on NBME 21, then I'd say, nah, you're not ready to sit. I just know most people are not able to go up like from 40% takes like at least like 40% to a comfortable pass takes like 2.5, 3 months. I know it sounds like a lot, but 40% is a low score on an NBME. Srikar says, I recently got a recommendation from a friend about Mehlman. Cool, that's me. It's Mike. Ever since then, I have been binge watching videos and studying PDFs. Really appreciate your effort. Thanks. Find myself asked how to avoid being OCD while picking an answer. I make a lot of silly mistakes, even though I know the concept. Neil says, damn, I had no idea NBMEs were in Telegram. Yep, they are there. Widjdon says, yeah, but how many years to finish residency in cardiac surgery in America? You asked that again, dude. A lot, like at least 4 to 5 for general surgery. Plus, you got to go on a specialized. You got to you're going to be doing a lot of fucking surgery. Okay, let's just say that. Mike, you have been very helpful to me. Thank you for all your content. And I think some general residencies are like 6 years, general surgery. Some of them are actually like 6 years. Or integrated plastics, I think it's like 6 years. Mike, you have been very helpful to me. Thanks for all your content. I will push myself. We will hit hard for a pass. KVJ. Keisha says, hey, Mike, thanks a lot for everything. Thanks, Keisha. Monty says, what watch are you wearing, Mike? It's a G-Shock. It's just it's a yellow G-Shock. It's my gym. It's a comfort watch. I have other watches here. VJ, you asked again. Nate says, how much do you bench? A fair amount, actually. Bench is my strength. Jacob says, I did NBMEs 21 to 30, was in range 65 to 72, and I failed. It's been 5 months of starting NBMEs again, so what would be a range? It's not, and you say, what would be a range this time? It's not really that. There's a catch. I'd want to chat with you. I'm not discounting what you're saying. It's like, I'd want to chat with you about like when you sat those NBMEs relative to your step, how you reviewed them and how you did how much QBank you did. There'd be a lot of things I'd want to chat about, because when you get a scenario that plays out where a student supposedly did well on some NBME exams and then didn't pass, and then the whole community freaks the fuck out, there's usually a catch. Okay, I'm not saying in this case in particular, but there's sometimes a catch where the student says, oh, actually, yeah, I did like one block from that exam 8 months ago, but I didn't remember any of it. It's like, exactly, there's a catch. Hey, Mike, 75. Sanula says, hey, Mike, 75% in UWorld means that I'm ready for my step 1. Yes, but you'd have to, that's a high score, but you'd have to do NBMEs first, of course. I wouldn't ever have a student sit USMLE without doing the NBMEs. Express Store, USMLE recalls are real, and if yes, where I get them? No, that's a scam. And if you buy into that, if you're looking for shortcuts, you deserve to be scammed, because there's no shortcuts in life that way. Let's see. If you want recalls, you're going to do the NBME exams. Those are repeat questions. I'm not joking right now. Like literally, I've talked about this. The NBMEs are repeat questions. So that's what you're going to do. Dr. Saddam says, graduated 2015. Can I pursue USMLE residency? Reasonable Doubt says, do you take any vitamin supplements? I do. I have a multivitamin I take. I've got matcha. I've got hoji cha. Hoji cha is like similar to matcha. It's like a brownish powder. Actually, it's roasted green tea. I've got that. Let's see. But I just try to eat a lot of salad. I eat salad daily. A lot of salad. And fish. Gotta eat that. When you get down to, Jenny says, when you get down to two choices, I always pick the wrong one. I usually get the diagnosis right, but stuck in the details. Any advice? Yeah, I've said this before. I made many clips on this. I've said, don't choose weird sounding shit. Okay. Sometimes the answer really is just Cryptosporidium parvum, not Isosporabelli. Okay. And the other thing is, when you don't know an answer, don't change your answer. So if you're reading a question and you think it sounds like sickle cell, and then that's your gut, and then you see the answer choices and you're not 100% sure, and you're like, ooh, thalassemia. Wrong fucking answer, okay? So it's going to be sickle cell. VJ, any tips on bodybuilding? I stay within my lane. Agent Fresh, I find myself stuck on a question on UWorld, then watching a ton of videos, trying to understand one question. Any tips on how to move forward when you're stuck one question? When you're stuck on a question, you just got to move on, flag it. You got to have an internal clock. I've made many clips on how to go through long questions. Champion says how to lose weight quickly. Intermittent fasting. You got to run a lot. And you got to cut out all carbs. No rice, no cereal, no bread, and you cut out all carbs. That's what I did. I lost 7 kilos from like maybe 2/3 of the way from November until early January. I lost 7 kilos. I wasn't fat, but like I was like, if you go back and look at my old YouTube clips, like it's not to be like negatively judgmental about myself, but like I'm like, damn, like I had weight on me. Like I don't think I looked too good in some of those clips. So let's see. Drew says 259 NBME 11, 261 NBME 10, 4 days ago. Oh, 2 CK exam in 22 days. Can I hit mid 260s? Yeah, dude, of course. I was waiting for the am I okay kind of thing. It's a trolling question when you post high scores, because most people here are just trying to pass. That's how it is. Most people just want to pass. But yes, you can hit mid 260s. You got to not make any mistakes on biostats. Okay, so you got to make sure you get all your math questions right, and you got to not overthink any questions. Go with your gut on questions. Just common advice I've given. Okay, don't change your answer when you're not 100% sure. Stephen Ray Fernandez says you rolled first pass 65%, scores 35-ish%. You're 35% correct cumulative through 65%, and your exam for step 1 is 3 months away. Can I start doing your PDFs in it? Okay. So your score's very low, obviously. I want you finishing UWorld. I want you doing 40 questions per day in the morning. You're going to have lunch. Then you're going to do my PDFs in the afternoon. We'll see how you do on NBME 20 when you come out. If you're literally still scoring like 30s by the time you finish UWorld, like if your final blocks that you're doing in UWorld, you're getting like 30s, 40, I know I'm not even going to have you do NBME 20. I would just have you do incorrects, all the incorrects from UWorld, which is literally like 2,500, 3,000 questions. Might as well be if you're getting that many wrong. But I would say for now, just get through the rest of the Q Bank. Yes, and do my PDFs in the evening. And then after sit NBME 20, see how you go on that. Tardall says, I'm from the UK and I have no idea about any of this. Should I do my USMLE? Yes. If you want to be in a country where there's guns everywhere, then go to the United States. That's what you want to do. Be around maximum guns and be in a place where you're not allowed to drink alcohol under the age of 21, and you can't be. Yeah, I said this earlier in this stream that like the United States, it's illegal to be 20 and drink alcohol. It's illegal to actually be of age. It's illegal to be 25 and have a beer in the street, but you can carry a machine gun. You can carry 2 machine guns when you're 18, open carry, and that's okay. So you can do that in the United States. So that's a good country to go to. So, I mean, wouldn't you feel safe if everyone around you had a machine gun? Right? Let's see. Just lost where I was in the thread again. This thread's literally, it's 2 hours 20 minutes I've been here. It's 4:17 a.m. Crack the fuck out. Bluffmaster, what did you score on NVMe 31 when it came out, Mike? 90%? What do you mean, what did I score on it? I didn't fucking sit NVMe 31. So I sat my USMLE a decade ago, but you mean, do I like sit in my room and do NVMEs like for fun, like just because I want to? I know NVMe 31 based on like the questions that I review with students. So like I know the content from it to some extent, but no, I have not like decided to do it for fun in a cafe or something. That's what you can do. The same way you want me to do the path PDF or something, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That's like, you know, I wouldn't want to do NVMe 31. If I master all your PDFs and the video questions, how many weeks after that can I take step? I mean, how long should I spend it? I think I'm just starting to get like, hi, Mike, really appreciate your work on PDFs. Are you going to update all your high yield PDFs waiting for them? So as always, yeah, I update them in time as we go. Jay, I just updated like the cardiopulmonary gastro this year. Jacob and Repro. Jacob says, thanks, Mike. We'll catch up soon. Any chance for ortho or radio match after failing step 1? Probably not. But I'm not going to discourage. Like, you could do a prelim year, or you could do maybe general surgery and then transition to ortho or something. It's possible. I shouldn't say it's impossible. Don't allow me to be an asshole and say it's not possible, right? Like, why don't allow me to be that asshole. Bashir says, I keep getting ethics questions wrong on UWorld. You can do my ethics PDF. Bilal says, bro, that wrong fucking answer always gets me. Well, there were people here who like really didn't want me swearing. Like the beginning of this stream, there were people who were like, Mike, don't swear. That's like not good. You shouldn't swear. Wijdon says, what are the best NVMEs for step 1? All of them, 20 through 31. You're going to do all of them in that order. Free 120, you're going to do before NVMe 25. VJ says, thanks, Mike, for your reply, and we'll get back to you in a month after QBank. Hope I get 60% NVMe 21. Cheers, bro. By the way, if anyone in this chat right now watching this clip is not in the new Telegram group, you're a fucking asshole. Okay, so you should join the new Telegram group. The link is on. Well, the link is on my other the MCQ question I just put out. But I'm not asking you to leave the live stream right now. But I want you to join that new group. Muhammad says, do you take advice? Do you advise take memory complex to enhance memory? Advice is for memory. No, I don't. I think you just need to sleep really well. Sleep is the most important thing for memory. Like same with me. I'd be a total fucking crackhead if I'm not sleeping, right? I mean, I think caffeine can also really fuck with you. You gotta, whatever your caffeine balance is, you gotta be on a healthy caffeine regimen, which can be hard to do for sure. John says, if you had to do residency, what would you choose? I do family medicine in Hawaii or Alaska. I'd probably go Hawaii, but at this point, I like living in a city. I like living in cities, but I'm from, New York. And so, let me see. I would choose family medicine in Hawaii. Let's see. I could probably, no, it's been too long since med school. I wouldn't be able to, but I had high USMLE. Let's see. How do I get UWorld for free? Muhammad says, what is the point of studying details in biochemistry and immunology if it doesn't benefit doctors in real clinical world and treating patients? I agree with you. That's also, I think there's a benefit to like the step 1 having gone to pass fail in some ways that like there's a lot of bullshit that you don't need to like focus on anymore. Kevin Leeper, what's the most representative NVMe for step 2? It's going to be NVMe 13, but they're all the same. But just the newest one by logic, should in theory, if we had to choose one, why wouldn't we choose NVMe 13? Sokib Saidov says, Mike, how do you decide to do it to a tutor? I don't. What's your question, Soki? What are you asking? Are you asking how I like hire tutors? They have to score well. George says just start it, but they're not as good as I am, even close. That's the thing. I mean, you say, well, they're on my group, right? Like they should be really good, and I give them certain pointers, yes, but like there's a big fucking like you can't duplicate me. That's you can't do that. Someone could score really high, they can't duplicate me. Mike, how do you decide? Just started dedicated. Got a six. George says just got a 60% on first practice NBME 24. Is this good? It's not terrible, but I don't know why you started with 24. You should have started with 20. Champion says, where are the trends in NBME? What topics are repeated the highest? I've talked about this. Hormones. Yeah, I know all the pathophys for all the high yield conditions. Drowned in Game says, Mike, yes, swear, hell yeah. Drowned in Games, yeah, you've been around. I appreciate you, man, or girl, right? But I appreciate you. I've seen your name on some of my prior clips. Mojal says, do you think if I do 40 World Qs and 40 Qs boot camp, that can helpful if I complete 20% U World? I don't like this question, Mojal. I don't like that question. I need something more like structured. It's 4:23 a.m. I need a very like simple, short sentence fragment of like a question. That's what I need to. That's the only thing I can absorb right now. Mike, how many countries have you traveled? Oh, quite a few, actually. I mean, I mentioned that, like, let's see, earlier this year, I was in Hungary, Greece, Poland, Romania. I mean, okay. I went to Italy last year. So, I mean, there's like, I might go to the US later this year. My cousin has his wedding. Like, I really don't want to go. I don't want to deal with that, but like, I'll probably go. I might go to Turkey this year. Turkey's on the list. I have friends in Turkey, so I might go to Turkey. I haven't been there before though. And Korea, I really want to go to Korea again. I've been to Korea 7 times. South Korea, of course. Let's see. Mike, what do you suggest? Do you suggest doing both old and free 120 for step 1? Good question. You can just do the new one. You don't have to do the old one. It's because we have copious NBME content, so it's not necessary. Like it's not a crisis. So, Jacob, what do you think about states after a decade in this crisis? Well, I mean, I wasn't. I didn't realize how big like feminism was in the United States until like recently. That like I sort of was clued into recently, unfortunately. But like the U.S. has like fucking issues, guns, fucking a lot of issues there. But like Australia was amazing to live. Japan is like very very easy to live in Japan. Lewis says come back to New York City. Yeah, I've got family from New York City. What are the medical pros of funny? That's really funny. Javed says if I master your PDFs after first pass of UWorld, how much more time do I need to spend at NBME before taking step 1? I'm really cracked the fuck out. You should do a month of NBMEs for step 1. I'm gonna end this live chat pretty soon. So if you want to ask any non-med questions, and I feel like answering them, maybe I will. Prince CS says Kentucky ain't a bad place to live, Mike. You should come visit. You know what? I would fucking love to go to Kentucky. It'd be fucking great. I mean, you guys would. I'm sure it'd be fucking amazing. Like, obviously, OMG, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's like holy shit. I'm sure you guys have like some really good food in Kentucky. Let's see. How are the taters in Kentucky? Jay Moore says more NBME questions. Let me just scroll to the bottom here. Turkey is awesome. Go to Antalya for views. Hey Mike, love your work. If I get a private session with you, what I get beside 1 hour one-on-one with you? It's a good question, Toby. You're gonna get 1 hour, and then I'm just gonna abruptly cut off the session and be like, peace, and then that's it. And that rubs some people the wrong way, but I'm not the most friendly person. Like, and I don't smile during sessions really either. So it's pretty much what you get. Like, and why didn't you pursue residency? No, you have like a multi-part question. I was going backwards. The Funzid God asks, "Hey Michael, I have been following you since you first released Tile Biochem and Immunology to help me a ton. I'm currently done with 70% URL, blah blah blah." You're asking more med questions. I don't want med questions right now. And the stream's been open for 2 hours and 30 minutes. You think I'm going to answer more med questions right now? Hey Mike, love your work. Just yeah. Do you agree that third wave feminism is a plague in the West? I just think feminism in general has like a lot of problems. I don't. It's not about like women. It's about bringing down men. That's what the focus is. I mean, why wouldn't we want like equal rights and equal everything for women? Of course, it's nothing about that. But I think a lot of people feel that it's about the focus is bringing down men. That's what it, and you know that can be taken the wrong way. It's just that it's there's a lot of like anger. How much do you run in a day? Agent Fresh asks. I'll run like a half an hour. It's not a lot. Just a half an hour at a good speed. I'll get like at like 13 or 14 kilometers per hour, a half an hour, and then I do like incline walk. Sometimes I'll run for like 20 plus minimum 20 minutes, and then incline walk for brisk walk for 10 minutes, or I just run for straight up half an hour, not on incline. But I haven't run in like maybe 4 days or something because I've just been like, well, all this shit with the fucking Telegram group like fucked up my sleep. But I did go to the gym today. I did abs. I had to do that. What about Louisiana? I think you can drink, dude. Louisiana would be fucking awesome. Seafood, I would love that shit in Louisiana. It'd be fucking amazing. Toby asks, "What do you think about transgender?" Like, I mean, I'm pro rights for everybody, man or woman. I think this whole like woke stuff. Like that's a way to really, there's a lot of politics there that can be very divisive to talk about. People are going to have their views. Okay, anything you got to just keep your mouth shut sometimes, but at the same time, like I'm pro rights for everybody. Like, of course. But the question of like, is it being indoctrinated wrongly into the youth and stuff like that? I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to gain information from a variety of resources, like variety of YouTube channels and stuff. So before the next election, let's see. Have you played cricket? Honestly, when I was in Australia, I never fucking played cricket once. That's like a decent question. Cricket. I never played lawn balls either. Have you played shuffleboard? I've played shuffleboard. There used to be a shuffleboard court in Florida where my grandparents used to live. Let's see. Do you track daily calorie intake and macronutrients? I don't. It's all subjective. I can kind of gauge whether I'm in a surplus or deficit, and I've been in like probably a surplus the past like 4 days, which is like good if you're trying to bulk, but like I need to run to cut more now. Mike, do you track the? I just fucking read that. Thoughts on Trump versus DeSantis versus Biden? Well, it's getting divisive, right? I mean, I voted for Biden. Okay, so I voted for Obama. I voted for Hillary. I voted for Biden. I don't know if I will do that, and I don't know whom I will vote for, or if I'll vote in the next one. I don't know. Let's see. 100% Grouse says 100% agree with you about blah blah. Let's see. Monty says Mike gonna marry a Japanese chick for sure. That's funny. Let's see. Have you noticed hypergamy increasing? Hypergamy is off the rails, dude. Hypergamy is off the rails. That's why I've started looks maxing. Seriously, like that's like, I mean, I've started looks maxing because it like, yeah, it's sort of where we're at. Mike, how to become chilled and confident like you, man. I like your energy going through the screen. Thanks, dude. How to become, that's so funny, dude. How to become chill. This isn't chill. This is like 4:32 a.m. on Friday here in Japan. I'm cracked the fuck out. That's what it is. This would be the equivalent, like my wakefulness state right now is like probably the equivalent of someone taking like half a bong hit or something. Someone asked, what do I think about gays? I'm 100% straight. I have a gay uncle, and I'm supportive of all that stuff. Like that's it's funny. I took like people frequently because like my style, my nail polish that I had in like old videos and stuff. But I'm 100% straight, just to be clear. But I support people who obviously LGBT, all that. Let's see. How's your life in at UQ in Australia? I'm assuming. Yeah, Australia was fucking awesome. That's like reminiscent for sure. I was glad I spent my 20s in Australia. It's fucking amazing. So before my 23rd birthday, I moved to Australia, and then when I was 29 and a half, I moved to Japan. So I'm 36 now. Let's see. Have you tried South Indian food? Indian food's fucking amazing. Indian slash Nepalese food's my favorite. Let's see. Do you live alone? Well, you getting real in there, Mohammed. Mohammed wants to know whom I live with, or do I live alone? Let's see. You want to know what's behind that door, don't you? That's what you want to know. Let's see. How do you know I don't have multiple places? I could have multiple places. How did USMLE advice for you? Whom did I get USMLE advice from when I was a medical student? Nobody. I did everything on my own, which was why my study schedule was incredibly inefficient. I studied for a year for step one. That is incredibly inefficient. But the silver lining is now that I'm, this is what I do as my job, that, I know what not to do, and I know when people are wasting time. So I've learned a lot in that department. So I know how not to waste time, but I didn't have any advice from anyone else when I was studying. I did it all on my own. Let's see. Hey, Mike, how about a trip to Saudi Arabia? I'd get fucking like stoned there, wouldn't I? Let's see. I think the problem is that people feel way too strongly about their viewpoints and feel personally attacked if you don't agree. Well, I mean, that's pretty normal, right? That is true. Muhammad says, what is your point of life if you are not religious like me? How do you know I'm not religious? I don't come off religious. I grew up Jewish, but like I don't like practice religion or anything. I'd say I'm agnostic. That would set people off real, like, some people are like, oh, Mike, that's not good. You should like definitely like, believe in God, be Islam or something. I've had DMs like that. It's not a joke. Like I've literally had like I posted a picture of a ramen in my Instagram story, and then someone DM'd me on Instagram saying like that was bad. That like I should like think about like God better or something, because like I was like I was too focused on my like consumption with like the ramen. I'm not fucking kidding. And I just blocked the person. Like I literally just like, it was like a follower, and the person I like knew, I had seen that person comment before. I just like I just blocked the person. So I was like, what is that what is that DM? Drowning games getting real intense now. Toby asks, Mike, you need to prepare us before you doing live Q&A. I would like to see it from the start. Well, the start, when we started this Q&A, I didn't see this chat here. I was like, wow, nobody has any questions. I was like, wow, holy shit, no one is saying anything. And I just didn't have the chat open. So if this ultimately goes to my YouTube, then, which it'll be under the live tab on the YouTube after. The first like minute plus is like nothing, because yeah. Let's see. Do you ever, that's funny. You ever feel lonely because you're in Japan, your family is away? No, I don't. I mean, I keep in touch with family, like iMessage, all that. Can you remark on why people find themes in my personal life to be offensive? Well, it's polarizing, right? It's not like medicine's very like conservative. You have to adhere to conformity. It's a very polarizing. It's good to have some degree of separation. So it's 4:37 a.m. here. Yeah, a lot of. I've never visited India before. So I wanted to visit India, but I went to Fiji instead. Are you planning on traveling to South America, Ecuador, Brazil, Colombia? You know, you know what's crazy is like I have a family member who got married to a girl in Colombia, and my whole family went to Colombia with a police escort. Like the girl that he married, uh, her family is very wealthy in Colombia, and there was a huge police escort like in the Colombia for the wedding, and my whole family went, and I was the only one who didn't go because I was in Australia at the time. But it was, and I was studying for step one. I'm not fucking kidding. It was like the wedding was like a week before my step one, and I was like the worst fucking timing possible. So I like didn't go because of my step one. But I was in Australia. So my whole family's been to Colombia. I have not been to Colombia though. You say, but I've dated women from Ecuador, Brazil, and Colombia, all three of those places, and India. Your opinion on this? No. Do you visit India? No. When you coming to Israel, Mike, come visit. I've been to Israel 4 times. I did Mayor, I did Birthright. Let's see. Have you tried butter chicken and naan? Butter chicken's fucking good, right? I mean, but I like spicy. I like palak paneer, like spicy, or let's see, group class to review the PDFs. Haven't Anisha, so I haven't gone that way yet. You like to do my PDFs with a study partner. How do you stay motivated and focused? Why not practice medicine? I have no interest. Favorite sports teams? Well, I grew up with the Yankees. I've been to tons of Yankees games when I was younger, tons. But then I went to university in Boston, so like I've been to Boston games as well. And like when Boston finally won the World Series, I was at university there, and like I was in the riots in the streets when that happened, and it was fucking amazing. Literally, the police were out on horseback. Literally, it was like you're in the Revolutionary War. Like there were like 20 horses, like 30 horses lined up, and you have like the cop on his, like the head cop on his horse, like with the, but it was outrageous. Like you'd think they were like trolling. It wasn't a troll. Let's see. Speak Japanese for us. Omae aishiteru. Omae aishiteru yo. Anata kirei da yo. Nani shiteru? Ima kara nani suru? Ore maikuru. Master, I'm your fan from India. Have you watched any anime, Mike? That's yeah. I want JoJo anime. Uh, that's funny. It's funny. Let's see. Carson said, "I don't know what to do if you're not in my life. Should I give my kittens milk?" That's funny. They're about a month old, and their mommy is starting to. That's so funny. That's the best thing I've read in this chat. That's good. I gotta end this fucking stream because I'm like cracked the fuck out. It's 4:40 a.m. here. Let's see. What 3 books would you suggest for males in this fucked up modern world? Books I've written. I've written 3 books. Tips to retain micro-infectious diseases for step one. Like literally, Manur. Literally. Thank you so much, Mike, because you and I give tips to many tens of students. Many. That's funny, Judson. Many tens of students, not hundreds of students, not thousands of students. I've given tips to tens of students. Have you heard that? It's a good one. I love your videos. Just want to say I'm a big fan. I hope you get 100K plaque soon. I don't know. It might be a fucking long time before I get to 100K on YouTube because my videos are not clickbaity. You know, like you got to be very clickbaity in that front. Like I'm not clickbaity. My YouTube titles are super fucking boring, aren't they? Like they're you can't get more boring than my YouTube titles. But the engagement on my channel is good. That's like notable. Thank you guys. That is something I don't take for granted. The engagement is good. Let's see. There are people who have lots of subs and they have shitty engagement. You notice that, right? Let's see. I have fewer subs, but good engagement. What is nicer about Japan compared to the rest of the world? Um, yeah, I really like being. It's really fucking safe here. Um, there's a lot I could talk about on that front. Just everything I could talk about. It's like rated R, rated X. If you come to Miami, let me know. Drinks on me, bro. I have tons of friends in Miami. Ever visit Russia? I've never been to Russia. Dude, I tried to Arsenias. I tried to go to Russia when I was in med school. I couldn't get the visa. Like, and then I ended up, yeah, I went to I was the plan was to go to India and then to Russia, and I ended up going to Fiji instead. Fiji and New Caledonia and Maldives. But the process to get the visa in Russia was like way too arduous. I'm a fan from India. Thanks, Gokatam. Kogatam. Mohammed, what do you think will happen? Let me see. I just lost your question. What do you think will happen if we die? Um, you know what's crazy? I used to be very like, philosophical on that front. Like I used to really like when I'd say early 20s, I used to be the very like cliche, you look at the stars, think about the universe. Like, I used to be that type of person. I'm not like that anymore. And I think it's because of it. There's certain like bad things that have happened in my life as well that made me very like nihilistic about like the universe and stuff. And I'm just like, that's why I became like agnostic. What do you think will happen if we die? Bust out the sexy AP. Which one? How's that? Which one? Which one you want? Let's see. Would you recommend reading the first? Come on, Raneem, please. Like, really? Have you ever been in an abandoned house in Japan? Agent Fresh, that is such a weird question. Have you ever been in an abandoned house in Japan? Like, what does that mean, Agent Fresh? Monty. Yeah, Mike, JoJo's favorite. Yeah. Did you watch Stone Ocean? I haven't heard of that. You're probably like, you haven't heard of that? What do you mean? I haven't heard of that. What's your favorite watch? Um, I've got my eyes on some watches. I'm working on getting another one right now. Mike, I got actually like a very angry like DM about like my watches or whatever. Someone was like very like angry about like spending money on stuff, but it was like, you know, I just blocked them. It's like if you say something like that, you're just gonna get blocked. I mean, like, what do you want me to do? Let's see. Most high-yield overall. Let's see. Mike, you're one of the reasons I passed step one. Now I'm using your content for 2CK. Thank you for the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Khalid. Favorite anime? I said JoJo. Fourth season. First in. Have you been to Thailand or Vietnam? I've been to both. I lived in a Vietnamese homestay for a year. You didn't know that, did you? I lived with a Vietnamese family for a year. That was when I was in Australia. Actually, they didn't speak English. The mom spoke English. It was a mom, dad, grandmother, yeah, grandmother and the baby and son. So yeah, it was a family of five, and we had two bedrooms. The grandmother slept in the. So I was 27. I was third year med student at the time, and so I lived in this. It was near. It was at my med school. Yeah, near the med school. So you walk in, and there was into the apartment, and there was a bed right there, not a couch, a bed, and the grandmother slept on the bed. Vietnamese grandmother didn't speak English, and then there was the baby. You had the son, then you had the mom and dad, and the four of them, baby, son, mom, and dad, they slept in one bedroom on the floor, and I slept in the second bedroom. That was my third year of medicine. Okay, let's see. But I've been to Thailand a couple times. That's funny. Prince CS says, "Listen, Mike, come to Kentucky. We'll go out to the farm, shoot some guns." I was just waiting until I shot some guns in Southern country rolls and high waisted jeans. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, let's go. Come to the U.S. Let's use some guns. Just wondering. That's funny. Here we go. Sneegda says, "Just wondering, you are so intelligent, have so much subject knowledge. Then why are you not applying for residency? No interest." Boston Red Sox had very good pitcher, Pedro Martinez. I used to watch him a lot when I was a kid. Yeah, he was good. If you like in high school, he played like video games, you'd want him as your pitcher. Let's see. Do you find your step one knowledge help you in rotations? Absolutely. I was a cocky piece of shit. I rubbed so many people the wrong way. If I rub people the wrong way, like now at 36, like I rubbed a lot of fucking people the wrong way when I was like, you know, I had way less humility when I was on rotations. And I pissed a lot of people off. Let's see. So I never conformed. It was a struggle. Like the personality required to get through med school was a struggle for me. Like I had to be like a supplicating, like subservient piece of shit. That was how I got through med school. I had to fucking like supplicate to every person. Be like, I'm so sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. Like I hated like, you know, I hated being like that constantly because that's not my personality, clearly. So like if I came off like just assertive in any capacity, that like rubbed people the wrong way when I was in med school. Let's see. You can get away with it as a girl, I think, but not as a dude. You can get away at being an assertive woman, but as a dude, it can rub a lot of people the wrong way in a conservative environment. Have you seen the anime Monster? I haven't. Uh, that's funny. What natural supplements beside protein? Yeah, I take. There's a really good like protein brand called Valx, VALX here in Japan. Really fucking good. Um, it's like a sweet tofu flavor. And there's also I have literally bubble tea tapioca flavored protein. I'm not kidding right now. That's what I had like yesterday. Let's see. Watches are a good investment, especially AP. If you were forced to practice medicine, what specialty would you pick? Family medicine. 100% family medicine. Love it. I would be a fucking good family medicine doctor. I want to get a Grand Seiko with Spring Drive. Waiting for the live stream to end, and so I may sleep. It's gonna end very soon. I am IMG. What do you do, or what do you advise? The best country to practice medicine? United States, of course, so you can be around guns, maximum guns. I recommend you apply to U.S. residency and then go to Texas. That's what I recommend. So you can be around people who open carry double machine guns, but you're not allowed to have a beer outside. You're not the land of the free. You're not allowed to have a beer in Texas, but you can open carry double machine guns. That's a good one, right? Prince says, "Oh, my girlfriend is Vietnamese. Viet girls are sexy but crazy." Okay, let's see. Well, I have multiple girlfriends that are Vietnamese. Love the attitude. Have you ever trained martial arts? I haven't. Sometimes, dude, I fucking grew up with tennis. How beta is that? Like my family put me through tennis. Like that is like it would have been so much more useful to be like, hey, I'm jujitsu fucking triple fucking black belt instructor, whatever. Instead, I like played tennis. I'm good at tennis, like really good at tennis. I went to tennis camp for 7 years growing up, and like I played on in high school team. But it's like, I mean, okay, I played tennis, all right. Like, where did that get me? And I'm really good at table tennis too. I had a table tennis table, and I had a pool table in my house growing up, so I'm good at pool. Let's see. The basement. I had a fucking party house in high school. My basement had a bar that my dad built, and yeah, I said we had a pool table. Let's see. What do you do if you can barely get UWorld done? Yeah, Graham, let's talk about UWorld right now. 4:51 a.m., 2 hours, 53 minutes into this live stream. Ask me about UWorld. Any advice on leaving medicine? Well, you got to do what your passions are, right? What is wrong about FA Step 1 book? Nothing's wrong, Widgeon. Relax, okay? Nothing's wrong. You can use it. It's just superfluous. Yeah. Mustafa says brown chicks are greater than Asian chicks. Easy pick. Well, you have whatever. It's okay, Mustafa. Von Willebrand disease says, would you ever come back to live in the US? I don't think so. I don't want to be around guns, as I said. I have no interest in being around like high crime guns. Some people think it's stupid. Some people say, Mike, you're serious? That's the reason you wouldn't want to be in the. I don't want to be around like guns. And I think feminism is off the rails, as I already said. No, Mike, for real, what is the best country to practice medicine? Do you, I mean, like, I think the British system. Australia is really fucking amazing. Australia is really very strong in terms of medical stuff. Judson Paul, thank you for your time. All that tennis is important for residency in Florida. That's funny. Is that true, Arseny? I didn't know that. Arseny, did you say you're in India? No, you said you're in Russia, didn't you? Let's see. Last movie you watched. What is the last movie I fucking watched? Dude, I've been watching golf recently. How like boring is that? But I've been randomly watching golf. Oh, it's because Michael Block, that club pro in the PGA championship, that was in the news. And so I just randomly started watching golf out of nowhere. So like um I've like been watching like a little bit of golf. I tend to cycle through sports. Like it's not one sport I watch. Like I might watch a little bit of golf and then like, you know, I'll start watching like football again. So I was watching basketball for a while. For like probably the past couple of months, I was watching a lot of basketball. Could you bench more than Rafa? I bench a lot. Bench is my strength at the gym. Um, yeah, I can build my bench really quickly. Hassan says, I'm not sure if I should register. Let's talk about your exam registrations, Hassan. Yeah, let's do it. 30% you world, 55% correct. Yeah, let me analyze that. Hassan, it's 4:54 a.m. where I am. Been in this live stream for 2 hours and 56 minutes. And you think I want to talk about your like 30% new world, 55% correct? Like, come on. I'm just joking, Hassan. Where do you go to medical school? Australia, University of Queensland. Thoughts on GAMSAT? Well, not really GAMSAT. Yeah, not really any thoughts on it. I mean, it's like asking if I have thoughts on the MCAT, right? Khalid says, I notice you do most of your videos at late hours of the night. Do you sleep? I need to sleep. I haven't slept. I will sleep at. I'm actually, it's almost 5 a.m. here, but I will probably go to bed at like 8 a.m. because I got to eat. I'm going to eat a lot. Shower, shave. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Arseny says, no, I'm in Canada. Oh, I don't know why. Oh, you were born in Russia. Got it. Advice for Muhammad says, advice for love relationships. Don't be nice to women. They don't like that. Do you know who hacked your Telegram? It was some dude in Myanmar. That's where the link was. I'm not joking. But it's resolved now. Did you take MCAT? I did take the MCAT back in the day. Let's see. Nana says, can you keep doing lives on a regular basis, learning so much from your knowledge and personality? Love and peace from Syria. That's cool. What did I have for dinner? I had fish. I had a big salad. I had grilled fish. I had a big salad. I had a bowl of soup. And I had like another bowl of greens. And I had kiwi for dessert. How is Amboss Library? I don't know, Ari. I don't want to talk about that right now. Country. Okay. People traumatized. Oh no, find myself. You're going into like the whole like reverse psychology stuff. It's not that. It's just I'm like, you know, I don't need to get like rated X about every fucking question that's asked. Like, why would I do that? What are you gonna have for breakfast? I literally chicken in I have chicken in my fridge. That's what I'm gonna have right now. Like it's not exciting. Like I'm gonna have chicken and salad. What is your intermittent fast? I don't like do intermittent fasting. I don't do that. That's like female stuff. You were such an innocent guy, says explore the world beauty. Definitely not. Honest thoughts about TRT, I wouldn't do it. I don't think the cardiovascular effects are worth it. I think taking testosterone would be like it's a candle. Candle is a good analogy. It would be like having a candle that burns very bright and very bright candle very fast, and then it goes away very quickly, versus a long, slow, sustained burn. If you do testosterone, you're cutting years off your life. I know people who do TRT and they have shitty lipids, and they like try to justify it. They're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not like this doctor said it was good for me. Don't worry, it's not a big deal." It's like I'm not. It kills your lipids. The same way estrogens, like you don't give estrogen to older, women who are postmenopausal because of thrombotic effects, risk of stroke, MI, DVT, right? Increased risk of breast cancer. Like, wouldn't it be good to take estrogen, maintain your bone density, have feminine hormone postmenopause? Wouldn't that be good? Well, there's trade-offs, and it's like if you take TRT, it's like testosterone, it's like, well, you're going to kill your cardiovascular system. That's what you're going to kill. What are your future plans, Mike? Why do you leave the US? I wanted to travel. I went from Boston to Australia. Do you know Hebrew? I did study Hebrew. Like, not conversational Hebrew, but like I was bar mitzvah. So like it would probably come back if I like studied it or something. So this has been over 3 hours. We hit the 3 hour mark. So it's just it's five, and it's literally 5 a.m. on the nose here, and I've hit the 3 hour mark, right? So I should just end the clip here. So I'll do these again sometime, right? Thanks, guys.